You ever wonder what makes a great gamer? Great gaming is not only about cheering on our teammates, but also being there to pick us up when we're down.
Guardian down!
Have you ever played Destiny with a fellow Guardian and thought to yourself, I wonder what their life is like? Questions like these spark conversation, friendship, and community. We're a Destiny 2 podcast that focuses on three things: community, news around the gaming industry and Destiny 2, and thought-provoking topics in the game. We're Guardian Downcast. Your stories, your community, your destiny. Hey, what's up, Guardian? Welcome to episode 265 of Guardian Downcast, a Destiny podcast. Hey, I'm your host, Todd the Gator, and I'm a day one Guardian who loves gaming and especially the Destiny franchise. In this episode, I have a returning guest co-host. His podcast, The Guardian Hub, is out every week to talk Destiny 2, and he's agreed to stop by and talk with us this week. Welcome back, Kingsleymac. How you doing, man? What's up?
Good. So I came back kicking and screaming. No, I'm always. It's always a pleasure to be here.
I'll Venmo you later.
Okay. I know. I think you might have to raise it a little bit to make it worth it, but you barely got me this time.
I know, man. I know. I had to beg and plead. No, all good, guys. Well, here's what we'll be talking about today. A little bit different of a show. We're both, of course, going to catch up on our week, and I have two more brand new movie reviews as well. Sadly, one of them is not going to be very nice. I'll be going over the highlights of this week in Destiny, the TWAB. And then Kingsley and I are kind of have a little mini roundtable edition tonight. When we first got together and talked about the show, he had a topic he wanted to talk about. And then I had a topic I wanted to talk about. And I said, well, hey, man, let's both talk about them. You bring your topic to the table. I'll bring mine to the table and we'll both discuss it. And, that'll be pretty much the bulk of the show tonight. So, I tell you, Uncle Scumdeath is also going to be back to share what he's been up to in the UK this week as well. This should be a good one. So let's roll.
Hey, thanks for listening to Guardian Downcast. There are several ways you can contact us. First, you can find us on X at Guardian Downcast. Or you can find us on our Instagram at Guardian Downcast and see what pics and reels Todd the Gator and his podcast guests want to share with you guys. We have a brand new website too. Just visit guardiandowncast.com, where you can find all of our contact info, leave us a voicemail, give our show a rating or review, search for any past episodes, or even give back to our community. Also, don't forget to sign up for future updates to the show, where we'll also have random drawings throughout the year, and you may win a gift card or even some GDC merch. And finally, you can send us an email at guardiandowncast@gmail.com. Our community thrives on interaction, so get involved and check us out. And later, Guardian.
So, Mr. Kingsleymac, before we get to our topics, and I know I'm chomping at the bit of what I want to talk about here, but let's catch up on our week, man. What have you been doing this week in Destiny and life? You been watching any shows or TV? What's up, man?
Well, I'll start with TV real quick. The wife and I have been rewatching Lost. It's my fourth time through. I kind of count it as like freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. You learn so much more each time with that show. Again, if anyone's ever not watched it, I highly recommend it. If you have watched it and misunderstood the ending, they're not dead the whole time. Watch it again. You'll really appreciate it. That's the most misunderstood ending of all shows. But you can watch that show like 6 times and still pick up new stuff each time. It's like X-Files or Fringe. There's so many cool things to it. We're almost done, though. We're halfway through season 6, and then we'll be done soon.
Very cool. Yeah, lots of Easter eggs in that show, isn't there?
There is. And a lot of just fun. You can go on like the Lostpedia, Wikipedia, and just research stuff while you're watching it all day long.
Absolutely.
Movie I saw recently, I know you've reviewed these already, but I both enjoyed Deadpool and Twisters. They were both excellent movies, I think.
You know what's funny? my dad's 78. Okay. He messaged me today, says, and it was a real terse text. He goes, Saw Deadpool. Hated it.
Oh boy.
Hated it. Walked out.
Why
me and Mom were bored. We walked out.
What the style was?
I said, Dad, I said, I said, oh, okay. And he messaged back, said, did you see it? I said, of course I saw it. I see everything. And I said, I thought it was funny. I chuckled at a lot of it. I said, it's kind of irreverent, and that's kind of what it's about. I said, but Dad.
Exactly.
I said, Marvel movies, I don't think are really up your alley. I don't think that agrees with your taste in movies. And he goes, well, I hated it. And I'm like, well, sorry. I said, well, I got skincare with Elizabeth Banks. It's kind of an independent movie. She made Cocaine Bear. I don't know if you know that. She made Cocaine Bear. But my wife and I both love Elizabeth Banks, and, so we set it up. We're going to go tomorrow afternoon to see that at, the theater near their house. It's kind of think of an old fogey town, just all old people. So getting into theater is awesome because you can just push old people out of the way. Get out of my way. I'm going to sit here. I'm just kidding. It's assigned seating, folks. But yeah. Yeah. It was funny you mentioned Deadpool. What did you think did you like Deadpool and Wolverine?
Oh, I love Deadpool.
I thought it was hilarious.
And I'm not even the biggest Marvel fan. I used to watch him more on the first gen, and then by the time it started getting to Endgame, I was losing interest, not because I necessarily had any problem with the movies, but there was just too many things to get involved in. But I always loved Deadpool because let's face it, I'm more of an irreverent guy anyways. I kind of like the crazy humor. And this one too, you can appreciate it if you've kept up with all the Marvel movies, and you can appreciate it if you haven't. Yep. And I haven't been keeping up with the new gen of Marvel movies, yet I could still kind of guess at the jokes that they were making. And I just do that opening sequence should win an award. The dancing to the NSYNC song or whatever it was, or Backstreet, I forget what it was, but it was so
And I bet you Disney doesn't
good.
know about pegging. And he looks at the camera. I'm like, holy shit, did he just say that? Sorry, spoiler. Sorry.
Yeah, I really love also that I remember we were worried when Disney took over Marvel and they said they're going to make a Deadpool 3, and they're like, don't worry, we are going to allow this to be a rated R movie. They kept to their word. They did. They allowed him to go all out, and I'm so happy.
The reason I love Deadpool is it's the anti-Marvel movie. Because they make so much fun of the Marvel series. And I love that part of it because they're not afraid to make fun of themselves. That's what I loved so much about it. That movie's going to reach $1 billion in sales if it hasn't already worldwide. Isn't that amazing, man?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
Quite amazing.
What was the other movie you saw?
And Twisters.
Oh, yeah.
I finally saw Twisters.
That was good. Would you call it everyone said it was like a follow-up or I can't think of the word. It's like it's a remake. It's a remake, don't you think?
Yeah, it's not a follow-up. It's like a remake, but in a way it's a follow-up because it's later in life where there's more technology. It's like it takes place after the other one, but it's not a true follow-up like same characters at all or anything like that.
That's nothing to do with Pullman. Nothing to do with Pullman or any of them. They're not related to him or anything. It's strictly just a whole new reimagining of the movie, right?
But it was really good.
I thought it was good. Yeah, I gave it 4 stars. It was a solid movie. So yeah.
Yeah.
So what else has been going on, man?
Those movies, and then gaming, besides Destiny, which I'll talk about here in a second. It was $8 on PlayStation, or else I usually like to buy new games on my PC because I have a really good rig, but $8 for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Ooh.
I've never played Mass Effect before.
What do you think? Wait, hold on. How much have you played of it?
I've just barely gotten through maybe like 10% of the first game.
Okay.
And I know everyone's saying the second game is so much better.
It is, I think.
Yes, but I wanted to start at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's old standards compared to these days, but I'm not hating it. And so I kind of want to get through one just to see the storyline and everything. And for $8 for 3 games, I mean, why not? Especially since I've never played them.
I agree, man.
So you like those games? You played them?
Yeah, I played them. I think I was in a rut with Call of Duty. When I was playing Call of Duty back in those days, I was so burnt out on Call of Duty. I was so searching for some kind of space age game, and I had friends that were playing it, and I did play it. I never finished the game, but I played a lot of it. I think definitely the second one more than the first one, but it's funny we're talking about this, but it was Borderlands for me, man. Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2, my son introduced me to those games. And it was my new addiction addiction. I say that
Yeah.
lightly. It was my
Those
new
are-
fascination because Call of Duty was just getting so boring to me and so burnt out on it for all those years playing it. So, but I played a little bit of it, but the plastic faces just kept getting to me. The talking like this and there's no expression on their face, but that's the technology.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, definitely the technology back then. I don't even remember the years those games all came out, but
God,
you
believe
can tell it's a little bit older.
Someone says the 2000, that was 20 years ago, man.
Yeah. So the thing I'm hating is I'm so used to the controls, and not just Destiny, but a lot of other games kind of have consistent controls like triangle swap weapon and things like that. But sure, they have in Mass Effect, they do have the aim, which is L2, and then the shoot is R2. But swapping weapons is L1. It's really annoying to me. Mm-hmm. And then using your ability and swapping abilities is R1, which is kind of like a grenade thing, but I don't know. It's just, I'm not really loving the controls, so I'm having to get past that.
I think they allowed remapping.
You probably can. I can look in.
Yeah.
I don't know if the game itself has remappable, but maybe I can find another way to do it.
It's so long ago, I can't remember if they added that feature back then. Yeah, I remember getting Andromeda thinking, okay, it's definitely going to be better than 2, and I was like, whoa. It was so buggy when I first got it. And running
is so annoying. You can't sprint for that long because you run out of, and running is circle. It's not like, L3 or I like using a back button for like, I have one of those controllers that has that, but circle for run and then you can't run for that long. It's just like,
Yeah, that's the smartest thing Battlefield did when they put their games out. Cause Call of Duty and Battlefield would battle each other, no pun intended, when they released their games. And Battlefield was a little more after. They did like a game every couple of years. And of course, Call of Duty was every year. But they always kept the controls the same. They wanted the Call of Duty players to be able to just go right over and seamlessly play their Battlefield games. And Destiny pretty much did that too. They're pretty good. It's pretty much right on the money from a Call of Duty game. I went back and played some Call of Duty and controls are like second nature. So yeah. Well, I hope you enjoy that, man. At $8, you can't beat it. I mean, there's so many good games out there for really cheap right now. Yeah.
Destiny, not too much, although little surprise for you, right before the podcast, I hopped in, dun, 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 the new, that's only this weekend, 8v8 barrel control.
You played Crucible? You got a fever? You all right?
Well, this is chaos. I like chaos things a little bit.
Well, and
I played with Zebrak and Priceless Cloud.
Oh, God. I'm surprised she didn't try to run you off the map with her Sparrow.
She says hi, by the way.
Okay. Hello, Princess.
And I'm also supposed to say how I was always above her with each round. So,
well, the thing with Princess is she's competitive, yes, but she has a lot of fun when she plays Crucible. She never takes it too seriously, and sometimes that gets to some of us old farts who are a little more serious playing. But when I play with groups now, I turn off all the competitive part of me. I'm just like, okay, this is community night. We're just gonna shoot shit and have fun. And once you have that mindset, then but if she runs me off the damn map twice, then I'm gonna get irritated. But the first time I'll laugh it off. I'm like, okay, all right, you laid me off the map. All right, you got me.
So this, and you'll talk about it in the TWAB later, but the reason why they're doing it this weekend is because also for the GCX this weekend, they're introducing this as a special beta labs mode. And it's crazy. Let me tell you, 16 people in an arena, 8v8. This is why I like it, Gator. I mean, this isn't for the faint of heart. And the Sparrow thing is kind of gimmicky because, except for one situation, I'll tell you in a second, but like usually people are only hopping on their Sparrows at the very beginning to get to the first cap point, and then they don't use their Sparrows the rest of the time.
That's what I'm finding.
But even if you don't use your Sparrows, I like having that many people on the map. I personally like it. I know it's not the tryhard 3 versus 3, but it was fun with that many people. Now, on the last map we did before I had to go was the moon one. What's that one called?
The ice planet, you mean? The ice map?
No, the moon, the one on the moon.
Anomaly. Is that the real tight map?
That's what's called.
With the little globe, like the little, it's got the artifact in the middle of the map, like the globe thing it spins around. So. Yeah, it's Anomaly.
But anyways, that one, people were actually using their sparrows more, and they were using it as weapons to slam you into the wall and kill you.
People. Yeah. Yeah. That map's nuts, man. It's already tight with 6v6. And, I mean, I always called it a shotgun map because all the hunters would just slide around and shotgun in the doorways. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm the opposite. I love playing comp now because the 3v3, you have time to kind of strategize. Whereas 6v6, like Iron Banner, it's just chaos, man. And I remember talking to Fluffy Fingers MD on one of my Destiny Help Desk shows about Crucible, and he goes, dude, there's no rhyme or reason when you're playing sixes. It's just chaos. The spawn's ever going to spawn behind you. They're going to spawn in front of you because the game is trying to put you in a safe spot, but it's just impossible. There's just too much going on. You can have one person camp in the back of the map and it throws a spawn off for the whole map. And he says, just embrace the chaos, have fun. And since he's told me that, it's kind of set my mind straight on sixes. So, well, good for you, man.
Okay, so it was actually Cauldron, not the
Cauldron.
One.
Yeah, that's doorways too. Yeah,
but still,
nice.
Yeah, it was that one too. Is not very big, and it was just crazy.
Oh my God.
You know,
I'll have to dip into that.
So I just wanted to give you that little surprise. Like
that was awesome.
Don't worry, it didn't get me interested in PvP, but I wanted to. I wanted to check it out because it was a limited time thing for this weekend. Yeah. I don't know if they're bringing it back. It intrigued me having the AV8. And I totally get it. People that do like PvP more, I get why threes would be the way to go. Yeah. But for just having a fun party mode,
sure.
I slightly enjoyed it.
It's pretty much spray and pray, run around everywhere with guns. So you can't hold down anything. I used to try to do that. I used to fight it.
We were doing okay.
In fact, yeah.
One time, the other map, I forget what it's called, but it's like outdoor, like rustic things are like breaking down. You know, there's a few maps like that. And then B is kind of in this middle area, and like underneath there's like a little room, and our team was trying to cap B, but the other team was coming in. So I just stayed underneath and was just shooting the team as they were coming in, the other team. And that was actually a smart move because the other team was just focusing on trying to jump up to get to our team. So I was actually kind of having fun with that aspect because when it is chaos like that and you think you can just brute force it, which a lot of times you can, but there's still some strategy in sixes at times where if you know what people are likely going to do, run in packs and brute force things, you can really throw people off sometimes.
We'll get you into Crucible eventually. We'll get you in there. I'm happy that Bungie's trying some new things. Heck yeah, man. And the fact that they're integrating it with GCX, and I sadly won't be at GCX this weekend. I've got plans, but, give me a tough GCX, man. Because I heard, Cosmo and, DMG are going to be there. Probably be a rough weekend for them due to all the layoffs and nobody knows. I'm sure they're going to get swarmed with questions. So what are you guys going to do now? You know? And we're going to kind of talk about that tonight, but, yeah, man, I love that they're trying stuff in Crucible, and I hope that's in their playbook for, re-engaging some people back into Destiny, but, we'll see. We'll see how it goes, I guess. But, So anything else? Anything else you've been messing with? You've been playing any other games?
Well, just the Mass Effect a little bit. I'm really excited about Star Wars Outlaws coming out the end of this month. Mm-hmm. I think you could be into that game too. They say that there's a lot of just running around exploration, open world stuff, and I know you were talking about other games, how you can just kind of like Starfield randomly land into these factions. Well, that's Star Wars Outlaws is going to be like this too. You can choose a path where you start becoming more of a bounty hunter or start becoming more of a warrior or anything like that.
I actually have 2 games I'm going to be playing here in the next week, and I'll talk about that. But, unfortunately Outlaws is not one of them because I have a new exploration game I'm trying. I of course played my Monday night comp with, Warcry, and, Fang King joined us this time. He's a good player. I think he's the one who took Priceless, Flawless in Trials. He played very well with us. He was our soccer. You know, soccer, he sees red, he just runs to it. I'm like, but wait, okay. I'm with you, Fang. Let's go. I'm hanging onto his coattails. He's killing stuff. And if he dies, I finish him off. And I played the team. I played the team player, and Warcry I think he fell asleep in the back of the map somewhere, but yeah, we had fun. He's in platinum, rank. We're only in like gold 2, I think. So it was a little spicier games. They had definitely some good players on the other side, but yeah, I've been playing Solstice, man. I know you'll probably agree here, but I like this new Solstice because it's all bounty driven. And you know me with bounties, man. I love my bounties. I love the fact that I can grab these armor alloy bounties and just run and just play anything. I can do my patrols and get my weapon bounties done, my planetary bounties done. I'm sorry, but screw that other thing. The activity Pathfinder. And I'll be honest, I have not been back to the Paleheart. I haven't been to the Paleheart in a couple weeks now. I've been working on my alt accounts. I have my GDC 2 alt account and my GDC 3 alt account I've been playing. And I just finished all the Solstice stuff on my youngest character, my youngest account. So, that's my GDC 2 account. I've got that one. I got all the Solstice done. I got all the armor and stuff. So now it's just about farming and getting, high rolls on my armor and getting I still haven't gotten my, the hand cannon I want. I'm not even a hand cannon user, but I have got a couple good shotguns, couple of the good, the Compass, I think it's called the Compass shotgun. Couple good rolls there, but overall, I'm not a shotgun user, but I've just heard it is like a really good precision shotgun. So I'm like, well, if I'm going to get a shotgun, I guess this is the time to do it. So I've been farming that, been having fun doing that. And, it's pretty much it. I've been, if you listened to last week's show, I've been really working on some Crucible. I got a Crucible series of videos I'm working on for just little things to help people get better in the Crucible. I'm not a killer. I'm talking about basic things that PvE players who want to try Crucible, these are first steps to get into trying and improving in the Crucible. And that's what these videos are set up for. So I've been working on that a lot this week. And of course I've been seeing movies. So shh. Movie review. I went last night to the local AMC theater in the IMAX to see the new Alien Romulus. Thank you, AMC Stubbs A-List. Which the name, by the way, comes from an abandoned space station that was drifting around in orbit of a distant planet light years from Earth. It's like a mining planet that the big corporations own. And these young colonizers decide to try to occupy it so they can grab these cryo sleep pods so they can go to this other world they want to go to. That's all I'm going to spoil. Fede Alvarez directs it with the oversight of the OG Ridley Scott. And Rotten Tomatoes has it at 82% certified fresh. The audience agrees at 83%. In a nutshell, I would call this a Gen Z version of the original classic Alien movie. But it does tie in the original 1979 movie. I'm not going to tell you how, but if you watch the 1979 movie, you'll go, oh, okay. So that's all I'm going to say. But the aliens are horrifying as usual, and the suspense is pretty good, especially at the end. I'll let you figure that out if you decide to watch the movie. But overall, pretty much what I expected in a well-done science fiction horror movie, I should say. Good flick to see with your spouse or to go with friends and see it. I give it 3.5 stars. Good, solid movie, and it's worth a watch. So that's what I did see last night.
I'm slightly interested in that one.
It'll be good. It's worth a watch. You'll like it.
I like the original Alien movie. I like what's the Prometheus. Mm-hmm. I haven't really kept up with all the lore, and there's a couple movies I haven't seen. And then I could tell from the trailers that this was going to be a Gen Z version, and that turned me off a little bit.
Yeah,
but you're saying it's still pretty good.
Oh, the acting was fine. I mean, for a horror movie, he fit right in. I mean,
that younger people can't act, but I thought it was going to be too goofy or something.
No, it's well written. It's well written. The character development is, it is what it is. We're not going to go into big, deep storylines of each of the characters here. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, that's pretty much how it's funny. My wife and I were Googling the 1979 version of Alien when it first came out, and my wife has not seen it. She says, I was like 6 when that came out. I'm like, really? Oh, so my mom wouldn't let me see that movie. I said, you never saw the original Alien? So that's going to be on our list soon to see that. God, I remember Sigourney Weaver. Mm-hmm. I mean, that movie gave me nightmares for a while. I don't know how old I was. I think she said she was 6. That made me 11. I don't know. I think my parents were cool parents and they brought me to it. Or maybe I watched it later. I don't know. But it was very good. Very good. Maybe I saw it later on like HBO or something. But I did also see the new Borderlands movie last weekend. And yes, I know there's been an explosion of news on this one. As a longtime Borderlands fan, I really understood what was going on in the movie. And there were a few changes to the original story that I think a lot of fans were a little pissed about. The movie was supposed to represent the Borderlands 1 storyline with the Atlas Corporation. I really don't know why Kevin Hart was in the movie because his character really didn't represent the original Roland in the game, at least in my opinion. What's funny is that the Borderlands did get a bump in online play because, according to the Steam charts, I think it's because people wanted to wash the memory of that movie away and remember the good times of Borderlands. Despite a lot of people not thinking that Cate Blanchett belongs in her role as Lilith, I thought she did okay in her part. A younger version probably made more sense, but I really applaud her for trying something a little more different out there than what she usually plays. My favorite part was Marcus, who welcomes you on the tour bus as you enter this new planet. I really chuckled at that part. I thought that was well done, and it was played to a T, by the actor who represented him. And I thought Jack Black I thought he was pretty good. I think he was casted pretty good as Claptrap, and his parts were slightly comedic. So there were some moments in there that gave me a little bit of a chuckle, but just a missed opportunity. I just could have been so much better. Rotten Tomatoes had this one. This is current at 10%. Critics, 10%. Audience, 52%. And I think I know why the scores were so low with the critics. I think most critics are like journalists, prestigious press outlets and newspapers they represent. I'm guessing they didn't play the game. But I agree more with the audience on this one. I think my exact words after the movie was, I mean, my wife had no clue what it was about. And there lies the problem. When they made the movie PG-13 and they tried to appeal to a mass audience, they ended up appealing to either side. So the broad audience, I think, was confused and the gamers were upset of how the story was laid out. This is, to me, an example of why video game adapted movies need to follow the Fallout model. Because if they broke down the movie into like 10 digestible episodes on a streaming service, then I think the mass audience would be able to follow the story. Instead, they gave you literally a 90-second introductions at the very beginning of the movie with a flash sequences illustrating, everything that you need to know up to this point. Kind of like the new player experience for Destiny. This should be a warning to other studios that are trying to do the same thing, I think. The Borderlands story, to me, is just as rich as the Fallout series, but due to the fact that they tried to compact everything down into an hour and 40 minutes, I don't care how great your writing and how great your cast is, you're not going to be able to fill in those gaps. So, now if they started a Borderlands series out like Fallout did, where, they talked about the ghoul, how he had a normal life before all shit broke loose and explained why the game made sense in the first place, then I think it could have been a winner. I could see them explaining, how the corporate machine was taking over the universe and how the ancient technology was locked away in a vault. And they briefly mentioned that, but no one's like, what? Vault? What are you talking about, vault? But why everyone was so crazy to get to it. Then they could have had an episode each detailing the backstory of each character, like Krieg, Tiny Tina, Maya, Lilith. I mean, there's so many characters in this game. And I don't know if you played Borderlands, Kingsley, but they always had a cutscene kind of exemplifying what this character was about. You have like a little play out cutscene before you talk to them for your first time in the game. And if it's just too bad because, Borderlands to me had great potential, and I think it would introduce new watchers to investigate the game like Fallout did so well. But, missed opportunity. Man, are they going to take a hit on this one? I heard the budget was like $130 million they spent on this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're right. You're basically right. I don't think with the critics, it's that simple because there's a few movies that have been made good, like some Resident Evils and the Super Mario Brothers movie and things like that.
Yep.
I think I'd unfortunately have to say I think the critics are a little more right with this one. It's probably the people why the audience gave it 50 is maybe there was a few people in there that have played the games and they're like, well, we'll give it some credit.
Sympathetic.
Yeah.
That was kind of the way I was.
I just knew from watching the trailers the crazy, goofy humor that it had didn't seem to play right. And then hearing the stories leading up to it and the casting decisions, those are 3 strikes against it in my book that I just kind of knew it wasn't going to be that good.
Yeah. Did you save yourself and not see it yet?
No, I didn't see it. I have no interest. Maybe when it comes on streaming, I will. And I love Borderlands. Like we were talking earlier, I've played all the games.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's too bad. I mean, it's just lose-lose. And what's sad about this, Kingsley, is, you know, studios that are looking at this movie, just like a lot of studios that looked at Fallout and thought it was very promising to maybe introduce a video game series into a movie or some kind of streaming. I think a lot of them are going to maybe look at how it was done wrong here. And you can always tell when a movie runs out of money because all of a sudden the scripts get very terse and it's like they're wrapping it up. You can tell they're, let's wrap this up. And it's like, whoa, it's like the last Ghostbusters movie. You can tell they ran out of money because the boss just suddenly just died quickly and everybody's high-fiving and, hey, Bill Murray, good job, you know, and it's like, you know, I don't know, but just too bad. You know, it's too bad. I give this one 2.5 stars. It was just a bad movie. Just so poorly executed. And, even though I was a fan of the movie, I can't give it a good score because there were so many holes in this movie. But, maybe a streaming movie if you're bored one night just to see what all the hubbub's about. That's about all I can promise on that. It just, everything happens so fast, so quickly. They cram the whole Borderlands movie story into an hour and 40 minutes. If they would have made this like Prime Video did with Fallout and, you know, maybe introduce Lilith. We're going to talk about Lilith this episode. Next episode, we're going to talk about Krieg and why he was so in love and so, wanted to protect Tiny Tina. And then we'll talk about Tiny Tina and don't get me started there because Tiny Tina, the story was not right. It was not correct. It was not canon in this movie at all. They made up some new story about how she was made from a factory. She was a clone. I don't know. So crazy. Some of the acting was done really well. I mean, they did a good job, but, yeah, like I said, missed opportunity. So it's too bad.
It's too bad.
Like I mentioned, I'm going to see Skincare with Elizabeth Banks tomorrow with my parents. We might see another independent movie called Dee Dee next week. It's a coming of age story in the 90s, kind of a skateboarding life of a kid and all the shit he deals with. It got really high marks on Rotten Tomatoes. So my wife, we saw the previews in the movie and she wants to see it. Blink Twice is coming up with Channing Tatum. I always get that backwards. That's the only actor I know that has 2 last names as a name. Is it Tatum Channing or is it Channing Tatum? I think it's Tatum Channing.
Tatum.
Damn it. It just drives me nuts.
It's definitely Channing Tatum.
Okay, thank you. My Penguin Friend, Jen wants to see that, so we'll definitely going to see that. It's about a penguin who is raised by a man and comes back every year from across the continent to revisit him every year. It's really touching. Beetlejuice 2024, September 6th. The Crow. Oh, yeah. The Crow remake is coming out August 23rd, the end of this month. Reagan, Dennis Quaid. I might see that at the end of August. We'll see. I'll see how the audience finds it. And this might be the first musical I ever see in my theater experience history. I'm probably going to go see Wicked. It looks so well done. That's Thanksgiving. I think I might actually go see that because I'm a big Wizard of Oz fan. I watch Wizard of Oz every year when I was young, and I would love to see this play. Red One, coming in November. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Chris Evans, and J.K. Simmons as Santa. I saw the preview on that last night. That looks pretty funny. That'll probably be a good holiday movie. Maybe a new elf movie. You know, maybe something you watch every year. Yep. It looked good. J.K. Simmons he looked pretty badass in that. So, but that's it for me, man. That's all I've been doing this week. We've been, like I said, I've been playing a little bit of Destiny, doing, the seasonal stuff. I always love doing the seasonal stuff. And then I've been watching my shows. I'm watching Suits, and I got to apologize to Hammer Crasher 32 because I guess I spoiled something today from 2015 on season 5. And, he said, dude, spoiler alert. I hadn't seen that part yet. I'm like, shit, dude. Sorry, that was from 2020. And then I looked it up. I Googled it and I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. That's from 2015. I mean, come on, man. It's been out long enough. I think the spoiler alerts are over. But, sorry, Hammer. Sorry, buddy. You don't know how it happens though. So there you go. Anything else you wanted to add for this week? What you been up to?
No.
All right. I think it's time to get to what we've been wanting to talk about here. So let me get my mandatory bathroom break out of the way.
Yo everyone, this is Sweaty Spooks from the Blueberry Lounge, and you've been listening to
Guardian Downcast.
Be sure to tune in every week to see how the guests will score the speedrun, and better yet, join the Discord. You just may receive an invite to be on the show yourself. Later, Guardian.
All right, this week in Destiny for August 15th, 2024, and I'm just going to talk about the highlights here. I'm not going to read it word for word. That's just not my style. But the four things they are talking about here is getting ready for GCX. That is coming up. Xur's new exotic offerings. Aisha's Care is back in Trials of Osiris. And have you seen our skateboard? Well, they talk about GCX coming on the weekend of August 16th and August 17th. My gosh, is that this weekend? That is this weekend. So hopefully you had a good time. Cosmo and DMG will be on the show floor, so feel free to snag them for a friendly chat. And I have a feeling I know what they're going to be chatting about. What are you guys doing in Destiny? They, like Kingsley mentioned earlier, they do have a new 8v8 Sparrow control. And it's tied into one of the events they're having at GCX. Where they have some prizes and little friendly competition and stuff in there. So, if you want to go to the event, make sure you check that out. But the one thing I want to definitely talk about here, which was the bulk of the TWAB this week, is people have been kind of complaining that farming for the exotic class item has been tedious, let's say, going around the Pale Heart. And I think they patched it where you get a higher chance when you collect chests in the overflow areas of the Pale Heart. Overthrow. I can't remember the name of it still, but you know what I'm talking about. These zones where you go through 4 phases of it and then face a final boss at the end. They're saying that the chests on these overthrow areas, overthrow events on the Pale Heart have a better chance of dropping these exotic class items. And Kingsley was just talking about, the one build for warlocks out there, which I do not have that one. So what they're doing to kind of equalize this is, I'll just read it here. They said, we've heard your feedback about exotic class items loud and clear. So we've started making improvements to how they can be acquired. We have some ideas for additional updates to make in the future, but they are still early in development and will take some time to get it right. In the meantime, our first source of acquisition outside the Pale Heart is coming soon, and you can now thank a certain weekly vendor for it. With Destiny 2 update 8.5.0.2 coming in August 20th, which is next reset, Xur's inventory is getting a small upgrade. The wild card offer that featured ritual engrams, exotic ciphers, or raid banners will be moved to Xur's strange offers category to make room each week for either an exotic class item or an exotic cipher. The exotic class items on Xur will cost 41 strange coins, which isn't asking too much, and will have random rolls, so you can farm it. The only requirement to get them is to have unlocked the regular acquisition path through the dual destiny mission for each character. So you got to play the dual destiny mission on whatever character on your account. So for me, I still need to get my Hunter and my Titan dual destinies done to unlock those. If not offered, the alternative is an exotic cipher, which will cost 79 strange coins and will be limited to 1 per account. So it says Xur will be guaranteed to sell exotic class items for the first week this category is available on August 23rd, which is not Monday today, but this Friday coming up when Xur returns. But every week afterwards, he will return to his RNG ways, as his will is not his own. So, in a nutshell, if you have not run the dual destiny and you don't have an exotic cipher unlocked, you can get a one-time exotic cipher for 79 strange coins. So there you go. There's something if you don't have the dual destiny run to get the exotic class item, you have something they're offering there instead. And they did not say that you only get the exotic class item once per week. So if you have a ton of strange coins from playing activities such as Crucible Gambit or the Nightfalls or the Vanguard playlist, you can use 41 strange coins to get random rolls on it. This is great. This is really cool because now, and don't get me wrong, the dual destiny mission that you play with someone else, the co-op mission is a lot of fun. In fact, a lot of my B-roll on my my shorts that I've been putting out lately is from the dual destiny mission. So it's really cool. A lot of fun. It's like a little mini dungeon, actually. It's a really fun encounter if you haven't done it yet. It's definitely a highlight of the final shape being released. Trials Weapon back next week. Those of you waiting for the latest additions to Trials of Osiris to return as Adept rewards, be warned, the Adept version of Aisha's Care will be back tomorrow. That is this weekend. So if you're hearing this on Monday, you have today to get this, and you got to go flawless to get it during the weekend. They did want to reinforce that the improved passage of persistence when you play with a full fire team of 3 won't remove wins if you lose. So all you have to do is get 7 wins with a fire team of 3 with the passage of persistence, and you can get the Adept reward for the week. So there you go. When you are in the second week of Solstice, as we know you've been going on some new rolls for high stat armor pieces, if you want to go the extra mile with our summer event, check in our new Bear Walker skateboard available via Bungie Rewards. It has a limited run of 1,000 units being made, and each one of them will be uniquely numbered. It did not say how much it cost, but you better grab your pocketbook. And being only 1,000 made, they're probably going to sell out fast. I don't care what they cost. Bungie fans do not spare any expense when it comes to the Bungie store items. So believe me, I've bought several of them. Player support report. Some more shit's broken. Not as much as last week, but a little bit of stuff is broken. So check out the latest Bungie blog on Bungie.net if you want to look at that exactly. Got some really cool art, some videos here, and they say finally that's all we have for this week. Let's go back to earning some more Solstice gear, which I have been doing. That new Void Bow has lots of great perks, and we are not stopping until we get the classic Repulsor Brace Destabilizing Rounds combo, which I have not gotten yet. I've got a ton of bows, but I've not gotten that combo yet. And let's not forget about something new with Precision Instrument and Kill Clip. That's the Hain Cannon. And Hunters using Mask of Bacchus will be eating good with this one. See you around. Destiny 2 Community Team. Thank you, Destiny 2 Community Team. If you're at GCX this week, in Orlando, Florida, have a great time. Sadly, I will not be making it this year, but maybe next year. See if I don't have plans this time of it's a really tough time for me this time of year, so I will not be attending. But I do hope you have a good time. Those of you who bought your tickets and are going, and enjoy Orlando. It's a great place. Lots of stuff to do in Orlando. As long as you can put up with that humidity, you should be good.
Yo, what up? Native Raider here, and you're listening to Guardian Downcast. Let's get it.
All right, Kingsley, I think we flipped a coin. I think you won. So we're going to bring your topic to the table first, man. So what do you got for us this week?
Yeah, a couple little topics that combine together, but how this is going to start with is, I just kind of wanted to talk about how, again, I'm going to be bringing in like personality types somewhat, but I wanted to talk about people just really trying to be introspective and admitting to what they like to do in games. And sometimes what I mean by that is people may feel stuck, or when people talk about getting burnout, I think that's because they aren't admitting what they may actually need to do instead. So I guess where I'll start with this is, we all know, and we'll be talking about this some, we're not bragging on or anything, but like Bungie has lost a lot of people's interest rate, or Destiny's lost a lot of people's interest right now. And there's a lot of good reasons for that. Not exactly new content right now, yada, yada, everything. But okay, actually there's two parts to this. I'm trying to decide where I'm going to go with this first.
I'm going to follow your lead.
Going off
wherever you want to go on this.
Okay. do we ever feel like we're stuck in certain games? Because I know streamers, content creators can definitely feel that way at times. For example, I've been hearing a lot on all podcasts. I think we've even said it on ours, so I'm not just saying it was here too, but people will say things like, oh, I'll give this episode a pass because the first one's not usually the best. But then there's always something down the road to kick it down the road. Like the next episodes will come out and then we'll say, okay, I'll wait to see what Frontiers is. And then we'll kick that down the road. And then, oh, I'll wait to see what the next thing is. And I guess what I'm saying is like, it's okay to be okay with it not having good content and always, not that we shouldn't be hopeful for more things down the road, but we should try to be realistic for what we're getting. As far as we know, yeah, the next 2 episodes can be a little bit better, but I wouldn't expect a major difference. And you got to remember, people, Bungie has said like 1 million times now, Frontiers is going to be even less. So I don't know why kicking down the road should be giving people hope. If anything, we should be saying this is the last good part for a while. And then let's not have hope. Let's have realistic expectations for what's coming next, because it's probably not going to be getting better for quite a while. Now, it's okay because people have different things that they like to do in games. For someone like me, I do not like routine things. I know, Gator, you like bounties a lot. You like routines. You like doing multiple characters, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's you would think it's busy work, but it's not. It's that dopamine hit for me. Yeah.
Exactly. It's not busy work if you enjoy it.
Yeah. I do enjoy it.
To me, it's busy work, but to you, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. Everyone plays for different reasons. I mostly get interest on actual new content, and I know they can't do that all the time. I know that's okay. And I also get enjoyment from, some social aspects, chirping people through raids and stuff like that. But my main goal has always been experiences and content. And so because of that, I'm just I've never not admitted this, but I'm just kind of saying like, it's okay to, log in even less to the game. It's okay to not do Solstice, because to me, I couldn't be more bored with Solstice. It's the same thing year after year. And yes, they've changed the bounties some, yada, yada, but I don't get
What, you don't want the bow?
enjoyment from that. What's that?
You don't want the bow?
The glow?
The bow?
The bow? Well, we've mentioned this before too. Weapons are also secondary to experiences. I'm not a collector. I don't care about the weapons. We have too many weapons in the game.
Yeah.
Oh, here's another interesting topic we can have for another week or another guest.
Whatever you want to say.
People are coming around to the idea again. Guess what? Sunsetting. And I bet you would hate it and other people would hate it, but it could save things.
I don't know,
I'm
man.
shaking my head because me and Des and other people were so okay with sunsetting. We felt like Bungie didn't try it enough. They gave up on it too early because people were complaining. Yeah. And now people are actually opening up to the idea again.
Well, I mean,
you may not be. What do you think about it?
I mean, I think, since last week with, when I had Zebreck on the show, it would, you're talking about new content and stuff. We thought about one possible future for Destiny was to bring back Destiny 1 and just combine the games, because they talked about rebranding the games. The key thing they talked about was rebranding the game and making it palatable for new players to come in. This new player experience is just not working, man. People don't know the pronouns. They don't know who these people are. So we thought the possible way they could do it was actually bring back the original Destiny story and then just tie it all together. It would be a massive project. I know it'd be a lot of work.
Do you think that's realistic? I feel like they can barely keep up with what they're doing right now.
Yeah, I get that too. And that's part of my topic next. I won't try to cross over into that yet, but just making sure I'm answering your question here. Can you repeat the question again?
Yeah. So I guess the main question, I know I've kind of brought so many things into it because I get sidetracked when I'm bringing all my points together, but
there's a lot to talk about.
It's like the one time where I'm ADHD, but I guess what I want to hear is your opinion on different play styles and how we can all help each other be okay with
the sunsetting.
If you're the type of person that doesn't like routine or collecting or things like that, it's okay to try other games and other things. But if you're the person that does like that, we shouldn't ever shame anyone for continuing to just log into Destiny all the time. What are your opinions?
Yeah, Yeah, I heard that sunsetting word again last week, and I kind of cringed a little bit because, I mean, here's my problem with sunsetting, Kingsley, is what do we do in Destiny? It's loot. It's grinding. We're trying to get that perfect.
But not
roll.
everyone.
I know
that's again
that's
what
true,
we're talking about. Yeah.
but it is a looter shooter, so we have to follow that model. It's a looter shooter. We're trying to work to get these guns and armor and setups and whatever. And for them to all of a sudden become nullified, that's almost killed Destiny in the first season when they talked about doing it. When they were talking about, I remember Dado coming online and said, man, I don't even know why we should even play the game if we can't keep the weapons. You know, we're working so hard to get these weapons and then they're just going to go away and be no good. Then why are we? And I got to admit, man, that took a little wind out of my sails too, knowing that these weapons that I got that may be not available in the future or may be obsolete. And I'm like, you know what? Hazel and I would always argue this. Hazel would go, well, they're always going to come out with better guns anyway. So that makes them obsolete. They're just not telling you they're obsolete. I'm like, I disagree because there's weapons I have in my vault that I pull out all the time to try in Crucible. Now, if you take Crucible out of the equation, you can get rid of 90% of my vault right now. It's the Crucible that drives me because I'm always looking for the perfect roll, the perfect pulse rifle that feels good to me, that's going to work in the game. But let's face it, man, when you're playing PvE, you can use just about anything and have fun with it. I mean, I'm not insulting your PvE-ness because I know you know there's optimal ways to do DPS and stuff. I'm not saying I'm going in there with a sidearm, but I'm saying if I go in there and I have the perks lined up, I have a build that where it makes sense and I'm doing decent DPS, then it doesn't have to be that exact weapon. There's more variation of what I can get away with using in PvE than there is in Crucible. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. They're in a lose-lose, really, if you think about it. Not really. I'm not saying how dramatic, but there's two parts to this because I've said so many times, too, of course, you and people disagree, but like, should Destiny always have been a PvP and a PvE game? And what's more, with these two personality types, and I appreciate your opinion on it, but you would hate the sunsetting. I hate that they're not sunsetting. I would be way more interested in collecting new weapons if so many other weapons were sunset. And then these are the new weapons that you can only get, so we don't have to crutch on these other ones. And the new ones are interesting. And we need them because if we don't get these new weapons, we don't have something good. So it actually gives me something to go for. My personality, I like variations. I like new things. I don't like holding on to old things. I'm not sentimental. I'm not a collector. And so even if I liked PvP, me personally, I would be okay with new weapons all the time. It's so interesting, isn't it?
Here's the one factor where I would have to disagree with you. If this wasn't a 10-year game, then I would say it didn't matter. If this was a Call of Duty game that we knew was going to get replaced next year, that's the ultimate sunsetting, right? Because whatever handful of guns they give you in Call of Duty, you know next year they're going to be gone because no one's going to be playing the old game. They're going to be playing the new game. What is it? Black Ops 6, right? That's the next game coming out. You think they're going to be bringing any weapons from Modern Warfare over to it? No, it's because it's Black Ops 6. It's a different time frame. So you're not going to get those guns. But because Destiny continues on year after year after year after year, that doesn't work for me. Because now I feel like I have a collection of weapons. Now, if they came out with a Destiny 3, if they announced tomorrow Destiny 3 in 2027, I'd be perfectly fine at 2027 that they're going to press the reset button. I think that's what a lot of people want right now.
Yeah. Well, especially since they've set that precedence, I get it. And even though I'd prefer them to sunset, I guess, even to be thoughtful of others, since there's already the precedence there. But just because it's a 10-year game still doesn't mean they couldn't have originally done sunsetting, like Diablo and other games that have been going for a long time. They still reset weapons from time to time.
If you think about it, Kingsley, they are sunsetting to a certain degree because we have limited room in our vault. We have to make a decision every day. What are we keeping and what are we getting rid of? And I know it's 700 now? Is it 600 or 700? I can't keep track. They raise it every year. But the fact that we have 600 slots for whatever we want to put in there, and I know that's a lot of slots, but I'd say 90% of my vault is all weapons for PvP. And you asked the question earlier, should they have separated PvE and PvP? I don't think they have the choice now because the secret sauce of Destiny is being able to grab a gun that you get playing a patrol and bring it into Crucible to test it out against Guardians. That is something that Bungie knows is the magic ingredient. In fact, you could bring anything you grab in the game and bring it right into Crucible and it works. I don't know. I think that's one of the jewels in this game is the fact that you can do that. Cause there's a lot of games you go play PvP, you have a set loadout or you have set guns that you can use in the game. And that limits, it just takes away a little bit of the magic. You can play, I don't know if Halo's a good example, but I remember Halo would have fixed weapons that you could use in PvP. And I don't know if you could bring all the weapons over. Maybe as you got into higher ranks or unlock more stuff. I don't know, but I didn't play enough of it, but I always was like, it's probably a poor example because I don't have enough experience playing Halo, but in Call of Duty, you had the way you unlock weapons in Call of Duty is you played the game. And as you ranked up your ranking in PvP, as you get a certain rank in the game, you would unlock more weapons. And as you unlock more weapons, as you use the weapon more, you start unlocking stuff for the weapon. This is the way Battlefield worked as well. And I love that part of it. There was always a carrot, right? You want this AN-92? You want the night scope on it? You want the IR scope on it? The FLIR scope? Then you have to get so many headshots or you have to get so many kills with this weapon to unlock that scope. That's a carrot, man. I don't know how that pertains into Destiny, but they used to have it where in Destiny 1 where you would unlock the gun the more you played it. It would get more powerful, remember? As you unlocked it, you got more kills with it. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. It's such a quandary. We're in such a weird space right now, Kingsley. It is definitely a surreal place we're in right now.
Yeah. I know that, and a lot of people, I was watching some streamers recently, and maybe let's get into the discussion a little bit about content creators and stuff, because that applies to us also.
Sure.
I was watching Aster Cross a lot recently, and he's a pretty good-natured guy, and people were asking him, and he's like, yeah, I mean, I'm basically probably going to be playing Destiny until they shut off the servers. But at the same time, even he's doing other games now.
Yep.
Because what do we do on these 3 to 4 weeks off? And it's going to be even worse next episode where everything comes out at the beginning and then we're going to have 5 weeks off.
Yep.
What do you think? Now, I know you've been mentioning some things. You have some ideas with PvP content and stuff like that. The streamers are doing more other games because they realize they have to. I'm trying to decide what to do. We're slowly bringing in talk about other games, but it's hard, right? Keeping Destiny talk going week after week.
It's crossed my mind. It definitely has crossed my mind. I mean, I think every Destiny podcast out there is trying to think about how they're going to approach things in the future here. And, it's definitely crossed my mind, Kingsley. I'm sure you guys have been talking about it as well. And the only difference is I'm by myself here. I don't have a sound. Mm-hmm. I don't have anybody to sound it off on, I pretty much have to talk to my community and say, what do you guys think? What do you guys want to talk about? Or, I mean, the one thing I've always prided myself is I could bring in community members and talk with them and get to know them and, introduce them. And it makes the community stronger for me. That will never change, but that's the core, that's one of the core, segments of our show. But as far as the Destiny part of it, I don't know, man. I mean, I think we're all kind of thinking, the good news is for us is we don't have to make a living by podcasting and creating YouTube videos. These guys are they're paying their bills. They're feeding their families doing these videos and they have to pivot. They have to pivot. So I know Aster Cross, his angle right now is, cause I watch a lot of Aster Cross too. I like the guy.
Yeah.
I think his angle right now is let's get ready for Marathon. So we're going to play a lot of extraction games to get that, cause he's never played an extraction game. He's got 4 or 5 extraction games that he's going to try and he'll probably stream them and people will still, sub to his channel and stuff, but it's a hungry beast, man. It's a hungry beast content creation. People always want more. And, like I said, thank God it's not our job and we do it for the love of doing it. We don't really care. We're not worried about sponsors dropping us, so.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
It's interesting. I was going to mention this too. I have a really cool build from Aster Cross lately. Kind of sidebar,
mm-hmm,
Judge.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing super damage testing for all the supers recently. I don't know if you saw that video.
Oh, no, I haven't seen that one yet.
And Gator, finally, Nova Bomb is back up there. Not number 1, but I think it's number 2. And Warlock is pretty much beating out everyone. Warlock with some of these builds, he was showing 2.4, 2.5 million DPS. Now here's the build. You do need to get the new double classic Zodom.
Hold on a sec. Listeners,
you can write it down.
Grab your notebook.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Everyone listen. Okay. I mean, check out the Astrocross video. He can explain it better than me. But for Warlock, and I'm lucky to have this God roll, the double classics item you can get from the Duality Dungeon, or once you run it, you can farm the chests. Mm-hmm. You want Apotheosis and Star Eater.
Don't have that one.
Apotheosis, what that does is after your super ends, it gives you increased melee and grenade regeneration for a bit, and I'll explain that in a second.
Okay.
And then Star Eater was only hunters. But what that does is as you collect orbs before a DPS phase or before you go to a boss,
right,
you can overcharge your super
up
to like 6 times.
I remember that.
So here's how it works. The easy mode is Nova Bomb. Oh, and both of these, by the way, you do want to do Prismatic, because Prismatic is still what gives you all these other things. But with Nova Bomb, you also want to make sure on the artifact this season, very important, you have Expanding Abyss. That's the void sources deal increased damage to weakened targets.
Okay.
So you run in, you throw a vortex grenade to weaken the target, then you pop your Nova Bomb, and then after you pop your Nova Bomb, the Apotheosis, and the Star Eater skills is buffed up the super of your Nova Bomb. Mm-hmm. Then the Apotheosis, for about 5 to 10 seconds afterwards, you get an immediate, instant melee grenade. You can do about 4 of them in a row.
Wow. That's crazy.
And so you're throwing 4 more vortex grenades, 4 more melees.
Okay.
And it just pumps out the DPS. And the good thing about that one is if you prefer a super that is one and done, and then you can follow up with a heavy weapon, that's a playstyle. And I might actually test that again, because I used to love Nova Bomb a lot, but now it's finally up there again.
Only problem with Prismatic is you have to use Cataclysm. You can't use the normal one.
True, but that's the one they did the damage testing on.
Gotcha.
Because with all this,
Sure.
So I think that one was 1.9 or 2 mil or somewhere right around there. And then slightly better is the new, the solar one, of course, the Song of Flame. Mm-hmm. And with that one, the funny thing is you do melee the whole time. They found out you get more total DPS. Don't throw the bird grenade. Just keep doing melee. Yeah.
Okay.
So again, you need to make sure you get the orbs before DPS starts. So the Star Eaters gives you the enhanced DPS.
Right.
You can start with the grenade. You do melee for that super. And then, it's a longer super. So you got to wait for it to finish. And then when it's done, then you actually go, right before you start, you do the Phoenix Dive to get the Solar Buddy and get some empowerment there.
What is it? Not Bastion. I always want to call it Bastion.
Oh, yeah. It's called...
I don't have my game open.
Helion.
Yes.
Yeah. So you Phoenix Dive, you have the buddy, you're knighted, you start your super, you do melee, and when your super is done, then you go back to grenade melee for a few seconds, and then that can give you, if you do it perfect, 2.4 million, almost 2.5 million.
Crazy. Jeez, I'd be lucky to break.
So I just thought there was kind of some fun builds there.
That's crazy, man.
You should see if you have that combo yet, Star Eaters and Apotheosis.
I got probably 8 or 9 of them, but I don't have that combination yet. But, Zur is going to be changing that. If you, when we talk about the TWAB, Zur is going to be, they're changing it up where you can, it's a good change. It's a good change. So that's good to know.
I really appreciate Astrocross doing that video, actually.
I like his stuff. He has a whole team that creates stuff for him. All he does is stream, and then I'm sure he has a manager that puts all these videos together for him, and he's just a talent. He just creates the content. But, it's great, man. Yeah, I always like this stuff. Yeah. Yeah, good deal. Good deal. That's good to know. Did you all get that? Did you all write it down? All right. Good.
Check it out, everyone.
Just rewind if you didn't get it all. Just rewind it. But, that's pretty straightforward, though. That should be easy to remember. Okay.
So that's one thing I'm kind of interested in doing Destiny lately, because builds can be fun, especially when it's things that you can use in a dungeon or a lost sector or a raid, something like that, to kind of, lost sectors are pretty easy, but even on master, but, just things like that, are interesting to me more so than new weapons, unless it's truly a new weapon, like a whole new class. The last weapon that actually excited me was these new rocket assisted sidearms.
Oh yeah.
A whole new class of weapon. I'm like, it's about time they made a whole new class of weapon. And
they're fun.
I don't need another pulse, another scout, another, hand cannon, everything like that. It's just now we have some new things, and it adds some excitement.
I have to disagree on one thing. The heavy burst pulse, I'm loving that there's a legendary form of that now where I don't have to bring out my exotic to do that. So I like the 2 burst. It reminds me of there's a gun in Battlefield that I used it almost exclusively because it was so accurate. I would just tap, 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 and just knock them right out. I think it was the AN-92 or AN-94. It's a Russian made rifle that shot a 2-shot. One bullet was slightly behind the other, but the way the gun was made, I used to be a real nerd on weapons and stuff when I played Battlefield because they're all real weapons. But yeah, it reminds me so much of that rifle. That's why I just love those new heavy burst, pulse rifles. And I might play some trials this week because that is the featured adept weapon this week. So I may look into that. We'll have to see how much time I have. So, but yeah, I mean, I think just to add to your point, I think, come on, man. That's a 10-year ride for a lot of these Destiny content creators. How long do they expect it to last? I mean, I'm probably the person I really feel for is Bife, because what happens when their lore runs out? When there's no more story or lore to talk about? I mean, he can start hypothesizing about stuff.
We know one of the major parts cut were the story development team, or whatever the name of that position is.
Narrative team.
Not that they're not going to have any story development, but the rumors are not looking good. It's going to be cut back dramatically.
Yep. Yeah. I don't want to cross over too much into my topic, but yeah.
Basically what I wanted to say. So any other opinions you have, and then I'm curious some of your topics.
Well, you started out talking about the personality types. I wanted to build on that a little bit more. You talked about people who felt like they couldn't. I know we talked about the content creator portion of it, but what about the actual player? What were you kind of getting at with that? With the fact that no one wants to try new games, or they feel stuck or burn out because they don't feel they can do anything else? I think,
thank you for, I may not have clarified that good enough. I think sometimes people feel stuck when they shouldn't, in both ways. Like, sometimes people know their personality well, it works for them, but other people may be someone that doesn't like doing routine as much, or certain things that a game has, but then they might feel like guilty leaving a game like Destiny. I don't mean like leaving it for good, but like trying something new, trying another game or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't want people to get stuck like that, because then they can get true burnout. Like, to my opinion, a lot of people overuse that term, but I do think true burnout is like when you are playing something almost begrudgingly, but not really admitting it. And maybe because some friends still are, although that's not as much the case because some friends have left playing it, but your personality is not so much for doing these routine things, and then you're just doing them over and over because that's all there really is. You can get burnout and then hate the game later. And I would almost rather people step away for a bit, play other games, and then come back when there's new content.
Yeah, that's crossed my mind as well. Bungie's always been good at filling those gaps with either special events like Halloween and Dawning coming up soon. They've always been able to fill the gap with me as far as that. And the one thing I would say that is different in Destiny 2 than the early Destiny 1 years is Destiny 1, the expansion would drop and that's it. There was no season passes. It was like you play the game. And then after you ran through the campaign part of it and you did all the side missions for all the exotics and stuff, there was nothing left to do, man. So what I use that time to do is I would do patrols. I would explore a lot of areas. I would farm materials. Yes. I would do all that.
You used to raid more back then, I think.
I did a lot. My first raid, I was a first time raid. I mean, my first raid was Vault of Glass. Forever 29, right? But,
but even in like Destiny 2, like, Curse of Osiris, weren't you raiding a lot more back then? Like Leviathan and all those?
Yeah. Leviathan, I think I had, 50 something clears on. And that's not even I'm not even counting my alt accounts because I still had alt accounts back then too. That's how I kept myself busy during the content droughts at the end of Destiny 1 is I would rank up alt accounts because seeing the number go up, as Danfinity would always say, number go up, dopamine shot out. That's what I always loved doing in the game And, but I gotta tell you, the one thing that has always held my attention in a Bungie game, or I should say a Destiny game, not a Bungie game, is how good it feels to shoot aliens and how good it feels to shoot the weapons and the animations and everything that makes a Destiny game. That art style has always just been so palatable for me. And I just never get bored of that. And here's the thing, Kingsley. I haven't seen another game do that yet. I know it's coming. I know there's going to be a game that adopts Bungie's art style or their way of gun feel. I know a lot of companies have come close, but there's a lot of shooters I'll grab, I'll start playing, and I'll go, no, it's not Destiny. And I know people hate when I say that, but it just a certain feel of the game. It's just a comfort when I play a Destiny game, more as I play a Destiny 2 game. It's just a comfort just to jump in a world and shoot some aliens and not even have any agenda on the mind, just to keep my mind off of stuff. It was kind of an escapism for me for the longest time, but I will admit it's starting to come to pass that I'm looking at other games. I spent all night a few nights ago in the PlayStation store looking at all the games coming up, and there are a couple games that I did buy and I am going to play. The first is a game I'm going to talk about in the next topic of conversation I'll have. But the second game is the new Black Myth game coming out. The new Chinese game. Chinese-made game. I'm trying to remember. Science. Is it something Science Studio?
Wukong.
Yes, Black Myth Wukong. I bought it. I pre-ordered it. I don't pre-order games, man. But my God, this looks so good. I mean, I know it's kind of like a God of War type game, except it has even more stuff. But my God, man, I'm a graphics guy. Well, I'm always looking at the cutting edge of games. And for the longest time, Destiny was that cutting edge game for me. And I know there's people out there rolling their eyes going, Gator, you don't even know. I mean, yeah, I've looked at a lot of games and I'll watch people play them on Twitch or YouTube. And I'm like, yeah, it looks okay. You know, what's that new one, that new free to play game that came out? It's a Destiny clone, the Transcendent one shoot. I can't remember what it's called.
Well, you're going to get the better graphics in adventure games like Ghost of Tsushima or Pandora Frontier or a game like this.
And I still have that in my library. That is a game I do plan on playing. There's a roguelike in there I bought too that was a PlayStation exclusive that I bought that I'll be looking into that as well. I played like an hour of it. And it just, you know what it is, Kingsley? It's just learning new things. Learning the new mechanics of a game is so tedious to me. I want to be able to just jump in and just start playing. But every game, it seems, you have to go through that tutorial, and it's so uncomfortable for me trying new things like that. But I'm breaking the mold. I'm breaking the mold because I feel like I have to play some new games now. I've come to the point now where now I do have some goals in what I'm going to do in the next 6 to 8 months here. And I was curious if you had any, but there is some goals I did write down here because we were talking about, franchise fatigue and going back to your personality type here. I do want to complete a Salvation's Edge raid. I have not done one yet. It's just setting the time aside now. It's my busy season, so I know when things start to slow down, I'll be able to do more Salvation's Edge raid stuff. So that's on my agenda. I still haven't got my exotic class items for my Hunter and my Titan. So I want to get those so I can start farming that stuff to get the dual benefits from the exotic class item. So I need to run dual Destiny twice. I want to finish acquiring my remaining fragments for my prismatic subclass. I know I haven't gotten them all yet. They made it a little more difficult this time around. You just can't go collect a material and turn them in for more fragments. No, you got to go to the Paleheart and find out the situation where there'll be a chest. It's a little tedious, to be honest. It's not really clear cut how you get those fragments. So I'm a little frustrated with that because I played a lot of Paleheart at the beginning when Final Shape came out, but, that's on my list.
Just watch a Masterclass video.
Yeah, I started watching some of them and I'm like, but was that after this or it was a little confusing to me, but, I think I need to get a couple in like co-op mode or something, which I've done no co-op mode yet for the Paleheart. The next thing I want to play more Trials of Osiris. I always hated Trials of Osiris because it was so sweaty but Bungie has bent over backwards to make it accessible to players who maybe aren't as sweaty. And, they're still giving you rewards for just playing the game. And it's something I've always dabbled with, but I've never really jumped into wholly, full feet. And I mean, I admire Sweaty Spooks because he will jump in and play Trials. If there's a hand cannon or something he wants, he'll play all weekend and he'll finally get it and he'll tweet it out. I'm like, yeah, man, good for you. Good job. But I don't know if I can spare a whole weekend to play Trials, but I do want to start incorporating more weekend rituals where I'm playing Trials. I want to play more comp. I love the 3v3 aspect. I play comp every night right now with my buddy Warcry, and sometimes a third person jumps in that may be in the voice channel. Definitely sweatier with 3 than it is 2 because they match you with 3s almost every time. Still got that team-based matchmaking built in there. I want to, of course, complete the next 2 episodes that are coming out. We have Act 3 still coming for Echoes. I'm curious to see where that goes. I want to start streaming. I want to start streaming more. I want to start having more game nights, whether it's a night of Crucible or, finally jumping into a raid or doing a dungeon or whatever. I'm going to do a little bit more video creation, not because, it's slow for Bungie right now, but you think I would want to create videos, but more than ever, because Bungie is pushing that they want to help new players find this game, makes me more enthusiastic to make videos that may help newer players. That's always been my shtick on my YouTube channel, is creating videos for new players or people who are trying to get into the game. I've been trying to help Bungie introduce people and make things easier to find and stuff. And some of my videos are outdated, so I need to update a lot of those videos. And then finally, I'm looking forward to the seasonal events. I can't wait to see what the seasonal events team has for the new Halloween event and the Dawning. I've always enjoyed
Probably
those.
be the same. Again.
It'll probably be bringing back a lot of the same weapons, but they'll put a twist on it. There'll be some new origin trait or they always bring a new weapon, or they bring a new armor set usually with the Halloween event. And I don't know what they're going to do in the Dawning. Who knows? But here's the thing though. It's very refreshing to me that the FOMO's almost gone now. It used to be I had to keep up or I'm missing out. Well, the way the episodes are laid out now, the fact that I still haven't fed my frog to unlock the focusing for the last 2 weapons that they gave us, which is driving me nuts. But if I decide to do that in 6 months from now, it's still available because the episodes are playable individually. So I can go back to any of the episodes and jump where I left off. And that's very nice to have, the fact that I don't have the FOMO anymore, or less of it, let's say, because there is FOMO, because if I want to get that heavy burst pulse rifle, I have to play Trials this weekend because that's the weapon they're offering this week. But the FOMO is a lot less than it used to be. So it's kind of taking a little bit of a weight off my shoulders. But, have you guys talked about exactly where you guys are going with the Guardian Hub in the future with the changes coming to Destiny?
Too much. It's something I'm not entirely worried about right now. I mean, it's just going to be a situation where we'll just talk about other games along with Destiny until some of us, mostly me, would just maybe potentially get bored. Like, I love podcasting, but at the same time, we know it's some work, even though we enjoy it so much. And I just have to see if during the downtimes of Destiny, because most of us don't really care about PvP as much, or the seasonal events or things like that. It's unless there's some new stuff can mean what they're talking about in TWAB or actual new content. For most of us, it's not as interesting talking about just other things, but it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. So I don't really quite have an answer for you right now.
That's okay. That's fine. I know it's in the talks, in the works. I get it.
Of course.
And as podcasters,
Yeah.
As podcasters, we have to adapt. You know, we have to adapt. I mean,
yeah.
Believe me, every week it's back to the drawing board. What are we going to talk about this week? You know, what do I think? What do I think our listeners are going to want to listen to? You know, I know a lot of us are probably tired of jumping on Bungie's back and beating them with a bat. So let's talk about what's positive coming for Bungie instead of going boo-hoo and, Pete needs to get rid of his cars. You know, like I'm kind of over that conversation. So I'm more looking forward to now, okay, we got the news. What's coming? You know, what can we think about that could be coming up in Destiny? And that may not be a lot. We don't know. So I'm always adapting. I'm always, usually a couple weeks. I'm usually booked about 2 months ahead, but I never really know exactly what I'm going to be talking about on each episode. So that definitely is something to consider with the way the future of Destiny might be happening here. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've kind of, for me, I knew all along, I don't know why some people were surprised, but I knew that after Final Shape, that the episodes were going to be a big drop and a disappointment for some people on what's happening. And that's okay. I was considering even way back, like, not retire, but I kind of like step back from playing Destiny and stuff because like I almost want it to end on a good note. I don't actually want to play the game and be upset until they turn off the servers if it's just getting worse. I don't think that'll happen necessarily, but like let's just say for sake of conversation that they're doing less and less content all the time over the years, and then Sony's like, we're going to slowly dissolve you more and more, and let's just focus on something else. But Destiny, maybe we'll give it a couple more years, and then unless it makes lots of money, because it's kind of this catch-22 now, unless it makes lots of money, then 2 years from now we'll be totally done. I don't want to be like, personally, like I like to be more realistic. I don't like to be a dreamer as much. That if things go less, then I'm like, whatever. It's not a big deal. I'm happy either way, and even more happy if it comes back up. It's not some people see it as pessimistic. It's not if you're not, I'm not ragging on anything. I'm just realistic on what I expected was going to happen. You know,
and that goes back to your conversation about people feeling like they're stuck in one game. And, I kind of get that. I get that because that is definitely a thought that's been crossing my mind. So yeah, it's a good topic of conversation, man. I think it was good to bring that to the table tonight. Thanks for that.
Yeah. I mean, I'll talk a little bit about goals and stuff too, just because I didn't quite answer it. I don't have a lot of goals.
Let me let Kingsley answer my question that I introduced. Yeah. What goals? Okay. Do you have any goals going forward?
Yeah. I want to actually try to sound positive about this. I'm not a super goal oriented person anyways, as far as like how some people have like long-term goals. I get lots of stuff accomplished long-term, but I just kind of make like micro goals, and then I don't dream to. It's funny. My personality type, of all the types, I don't live much in the future or the past. I'm pretty much always in the present.
That's a good mindset.
I don't dream, have big goals, things like that, but I do really well in the present. Anyways, I do want to just step back for a second, though, just to kind of reiterate one of the biggest goals that I've had recently that's passed now, but that I feel really good about, was getting Pantheon done and getting the Godslayer title. And it was kind of a love letter to myself. Like, it may be one of the last try hard things I do in the game. Not saying I'm not stopping playing the game, but I think it may be one of the last try hard things that I do. It was tough. I put a lot of time and effort into it. At times I didn't think I was going to get it done. I'm glad I stuck through. Shout out to all the people with that. And then with Final Shape coming out right after that, it was this beautiful, very refreshing story. And I feel happy with Destiny, even if the content is less, and let's hope it comes back up. But even if things less, I feel like Destiny has been a very happy thing for me. My other goal was, again, this is something that happened in the past, but I'll try to think of some future things, but it's recent, was not tryharding, but I'm glad I got, clear with the new raid. I want to give shout out to so many teams out there that I've run things through. Shout out to Technical and his team. Shout out to also Guardian Hub, Scoot, and all the guys, Ed, Shadow Moth, Kato, everyone. This raid, people, I know Gator's mentioned it before, but we always wanted, as Sherpas and raids, we always wanted to try to tell people, if you find, I don't have time to raid. Well, if you find the right crew, we can get it done in an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours max, whatever. This raid, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but that's not true anymore. And I don't want to scare people away, but you really need to go in with a team. I promise you, it has to be 5 people that already know the raid. And then you can get it done in 2 to 3 hours.
That's realistic.
I know that sounds scary. Or plan on spending multiple nights. Maybe get half the raid done or something like that. You can go in with 2 or 3 people that don't know it, but then plan on it being a multi-night, multi-week thing. I think it's best for people to have expectations ahead of time, know what they're getting into. And then they won't be as disappointed. And it's a great experience, a great raid. I love the crazy encounter that everyone's talking about, the Verity one. It scratches all my itches because I'm very good at spatial visualization and stuff. And you have to take like 2D shapes and match them with 3D shapes and know how to combine them and everything like that. I don't know how well you would do, but like to me, I love it.
Yeah, I like that stuff.
It was really fun. So that was like a goal. And then going forward, I don't have too many goals. I mean, the build was really fun. The Astrocross one, I haven't tried it out yet. So I have a goal to just kind of try that out sometime in the future. I'll play all the new content when it comes out. I don't really see that as a goal though. I just see that as something I always like to do anyways. I paid for the year. Whenever the new content's going to come out, my schedule's pretty flexible where I can hop on a Tuesday, get to it right away, check out the new content. I'm the type of player that, hey, Destiny has new content. Of course I'm going to hop into it right away because that's the stuff I crave more than anything else. And so I'm excited for stuff coming up with that. Excited for the Dreadnought. I guess maybe if I have another goal in Destiny, it might be doing some older raids Sherping again. I've been kind of not burnt out, but like not interested as much lately just because I've had so much fun in Destiny and not as many people are playing along with me, not having the interest of new stuff. It kind of gets everyone to step away from even playing old stuff a little bit. So maybe I can start a goal of doing some Sherpa runs again on older raids and stuff like that.
Yeah, and let's remember too.
That's about it.
Yeah, let's remember too, Kingsley, that it's still summertime. I mean, school just started back for us at Florida here, so I'm sure it'll follow suit up north here pretty soon, if not already. So people are getting back to their normal routines now. You know, November vacations or, you know, going to the park every weekend and doing stuff because the kids are home. I think a lot of people probably will want to start doing some raids, and I think that'd be good to do some Sherpas. I don't consider myself a Sherpa. I'm kind of a strong lieutenant on raids that I already know. And I agree with you. I think with the new Salvation's Edge, I think it is going to be different. I think even on a learning raid, I think I would still be hesitant to bring more than one person that hasn't run it before. It's just when you have one person who doesn't run it, everyone around you can kind of guide you better. But when you have 2 people, it's just so much more complex. You have more moving parts, I guess that's what I'm trying to say here. And those moving parts have to all work together. And when you have 2 people who don't quite know the routine yet, it just makes things a lot longer. And if you have one person, it's easier to guide them and correct their mistakes and stuff than it is 2. It just is. I've done a lot of learning raids, man. Believe me, I have done raiding the hard way since I started this podcast. Every time I Sherpa'd a raid, said, hey, I'm running a raid. I need some Sherpas, you know, maybe help out a couple people here. I usually end up getting people who maybe ran it 2 times, and it just becomes a learning raid that turns and bends up 3 or 4 hours long. And that just puts such a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth that are trying to raid for the first time, you know? So I agree. I think as a general rule for me in the future, I'll probably have a fixed team that can Sherpa one person. I know that's very limiting, but dude, we got a lot of time here. We got all the time in the world now. And apparently with the other episodes, there's going to be at least a dungeon coming out. So yeah, that'll be fun. So yeah, I mean,
and that's the other hard thing about the raid too, is because not many people are playing Destiny, but that combined with, since it's a harder raid, it's also hard to find the Sherpa group. I know of a couple out there, but I don't want to name any names because they're already really busy.
Right.
Hopefully, you know, they do speak up in the Discord from time to time, but it's hard to find because there's not as many groups. Like I don't have a Sherpa group that I'm willing to do with the new raid yet. I might get there eventually, but there are some people that are in all our Discords but there's less people that can Sherpa this. So that along with less people playing along with, you need to have 5 people that know it.
Yep.
It makes sense that not many people have a clear on this raid yet compared to other raids.
I was very surprised you guys took so long to do your raid to finally get the salvation.
I mean, not everyone did.
Yeah.
Some people in Guardian Hub went quicker. I just didn't have the desire to go try hard as much this time.
Right.
But you're right. In general, if you look at everyone who used to raid a lot, it's taken a lot longer with this one.
Do you think, it's really weird, Kingsley. I just don't have an urge to run it. Because, you know why? Do you think that's maybe because we already know the ending story? We already know where it goes? Because we played.
You shouldn't look at it that way.
Yeah.
Because, I hear there's some good weapons, so there you go. I'll try to.
There is a heavy burst pulse rifle. Yes, I know.
Yeah. But, don't worry about, that's funny. Even though I like experiences, it's more about like the arenas and the boss fights are fun. Now, actually, the very final boss fight, the Witness, is probably my least favorite.
Oh.
And it doesn't matter that we know how it ends. But I think of the final Witness boss fight as something closer like the Ron, Nezarec boss fight. It's kind of annoying to me, actually.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of people will kind of agree the star of the show is Verity, the encounter before the boss fight, that crazy one. It's more of a puzzle.
Memorize your Guardians. Yeah. They're in your fire team. That sounds interesting. Yeah.
And then the boss fight before that is a lot of fun too. The other boss in the raid, and there's a couple other encounters that are kind of fun. So think of it more as not why you're killing the Witness or what happens, but think of the whole experience going through it, seeing these beautiful arenas. The boss fights are kind of interesting. The mechanics are kind of interesting.
What do you think about the fact that every room has a timer on it? You have to get the thing done before the timer. Do you ever have problems with that timer running out on you guys?
Well, every raid has a timer, even if there's not a timer.
Well, you know what I mean? Where everybody dies if the timer reaches a certain point. I noticed that when I watched the day 1 raids, I was like, I'm not going to like these timers, man. I'll be looking at that timer and it'll be driving me crazy.
But every raid has, even the raids that don't have timers on the screen, there's a background timer.
You're right. There is an enrage. Yeah, you're right. The boss eventually gets impatient and he just smacks everybody down. I get that. Yeah. So maybe just the fact that they're putting it out there. Or even
Kingsfall, like running the things back and forth.
Sure.
Not the first every raid, every encounter, but most encounters, even like the second encounter running things back and forth, there's little mini timers all along that have things. So I think you're forgetting that pretty much all raids have timers, even if they're not in front of your face.
Enrage. Yeah, that's right. I just
even Daughters and Oryx.
It does.
Has kind of like a background timer that if you don't get it fast enough, or even Oryx has a background timer. If you don't do things fast enough, eventually he'll slam the plate, but there's not an actual timer on the screen, but it is in the background, something going on. I know you don't like timers. That's fair.
I just don't like them in my face. I don't like having to worry about time running out. And I'd rather have one that's hidden that just knows that, okay, we got three shots at this boss and then he's just going to whack us. So I get that, but I don't know. I just saw that they were moving room to room and there was a timer they had to get through a certain door to offset the timer and reset the timer. And I'm like, I'm probably gonna have to tape that off on my screen. I'm probably gonna have to put some duct tape over it or something.
No, you shouldn't look at the timer. That encounter actually isn't that bad. It was on, look, and then you were probably again looking on contest mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Timers are probably more generous.
Yeah, you got to do things fast, but you should do things fast anyways in raids to be more efficient. But the timer isn't that crazy. I pretty much ignore the timer myself.
All right.
If you're just killing ads fast and staying with the group, then it's fine.
I stand corrected. Yeah. You're right. There are timers in every raid. I don't know why.
Not every encounter, but
just don't put it in my face. I don't want to look at it. I swear I'm going to put duct tape over that timer. I swear to God on my monitor, I will have tape over that bottom left hand of the screen. I swear I will. Anyway.
But we've had the discussion before about how, and I'm sure you agree and other people have agreed, where why not we have the normal version of the raid, we have master version, but they should have an easy mode too, where you don't have to worry about revive tokens.
A learning mode. Yeah. And you get less, you don't get to all the good stuff.
I don't think you should get the raid loot. You should get some loot, but not the raid loot in the easy mode.
That would be a great option.
Yeah.
More people would learn how to do raids and dungeons.
Destiny 1 didn't have revive tokens. You can, on the normal mode of the raids, you could revive people unlimited.
Yeah. Bring it back. Why not? I hate raid tokens. I do, especially on a learning raid, because you'll have the person who hasn't played or maybe is kind of, kind of has that shock. They're not used to all this pressure and tension and mechanics and stuff, and they end up being the one that eats up all the tokens for everyone else. And it's just a bad mechanic, man. I hate that stuff. I mean, to me, it's artificial.
I think it's fine for normal.
I don't like it.
But
yeah.
Yeah.
And we've talked about well,
PvP has that too. When you got to revive your teammates.
Well, that's true. That's for certain game types. That's true. But other game types, you just respawn. But you lost the battle. You gave the other team the point. So it's done. But yeah, good conversation, man. That was a good conversation. Good topic. Yeah. I could see why you wanted to bring that to the table tonight. So thanks, man. Well, I'm going to get up and stretch a little bit here, and then I'll be bringing my topic right after this. Hey, Guardians, would you like to give back to our community? If you received any value from today's podcast episode and would like to give back, head over to our website, guardiandowncast.com, and select the Patreon button to see what extra perks and benefits you can get from the several tiers of membership available. If you would like to give a one-time donation, click on our PayPal button and follow the prompts. Our community runs on our membership, and we never accept outside sponsors or advertisers. We're Guardian Downcast. Your stories, your community, your destiny. My topic actually ties in a little bit with Kingsley's topic in some ways, how he thinks, people get stuck in certain games. But my topic centers around that tweet that Bungie team put out last week, stating that they will be discussing the future of the franchise, including Frontiers and beyond their plans, what they want to do. And I wanted to do a little more speculation. I know you don't like to speculate, Kingsley. I know you don't like to dream or look too much in the future here, but I respectfully ask you to put your speculation cap on here a little bit. But, I'm just curious what that might be that they talk about. We know that Bungie has 2 more episodes already developed and slated to carry Destiny 2 into 2025. What comes after? Now that Sony stepped in, is this bad news or could this be a good thing? That's kind of my overall theme here. And I have different points I want to ask you here, but, the one thing that I wanted to ask you first is, would you rather go through a 3-year content drought and have no Destiny to play, nothing new? Or do you think they should continue with more episodes? Which would you think would be better for the game, or would you prefer?
That's a brilliant question, actually. I probably would have answered differently even a year ago. But right now, I would say I would rather nothing for 3 years and then come out with a new game. But I'm just giving you an honest answer.
No, that's honest. And I think Bungie has a dilemma here. Sony, I should say Sony because it's Sony. Mm-hmm. Sony's the one that has to worry about this now. They've pretty much taken over. They're pretty much running the show. And, Bungie's just their instrument, so to speak. So for me, I would like the episodes to continue. I think they should come out with episodes like, let's hear the backstory of Ikora. We've mentioned this in the past. Let's strengthen these characters that are in the game, and also new members that come into the game can learn about these characters. I think that would be a good way to go. I mean, I don't know where they're going to go with episodes after, they talk about the Witch Queen, the last one being Hive and the next one being about the, maybe Crow and the
enemy race.
They're not fallen, but they're kind of twisted fallen. It was on the came with the Forsaken.
The Scorn.
Thank you, the Scorn. I'll edit that out. The Scorn. So I mean, we know kind of the themes coming up for the next 2 episodes, but for me to answer that question, I think they should do some more character development. Because if they decide to do a TV series or a live action series down the road, a lot of us already know a little bit about these characters in the game. And that might be a pipe dream, but I think those are some things they can look into. And this is probably a conversation they're having right now with their studio. So, yeah, I don't know if...
Do you think they should do that even if that means they'll never come out with anything big?
Yes, because I think Bungie, Destiny, Sony, Bungie, whatever, has a dilemma right now. They have this dedicated player base. And yes, I realize it's 30,000 a day or, we're way past our peak and it's dropped quite a bit. These are your core, this 30,000 that's playing every day. These are your core players. And 30,000, may not be 100,000 at their peak, but there's still a solid core player base that loves this game. And then you do have the occasional people that decide they want to play the game, and is God help them, cause there's no Red War campaign to come out with or anything like that they can learn the story of Destiny 2. But I would prefer to have some kind of content come out, even if it is light, like you say, because that keeps the players engaged. And the thing I'm almost afraid of here, Kingsley, is if they go dark, like they did the end of Destiny 1, I may not make alt characters and do other things to create my own content this time. I may literally just go to another game, because the way my personality type is, I grab onto a game and I play the hell out of it, especially if it's something that's satisfying my needs when I play the game. And there's another game that is getting my attention. It's an exploratory game. And I told you about Black Myth Wukong, that that's probably going to be a fixed amount of time, because it'll be like, a lot of first person story games. You'll play it and it'll be done. But I don't think that's going to be a live service game. But man, is it going to be a fun ride. But yeah, I think I would prefer to have some kind of episodes or some kind of light content, even if it's just seasonal events. Because if Bungie doesn't keep that attention of their audience, they may never come back. They may find something totally different that they're into, and maybe, like you said, kick that can down the road. Oh, not this episode.
Well, they'll come back when the new stuff comes out.
Well, Destiny 3, yes, but so my question is, another question I had, Marathon. Should Bungie just cancel Marathon? Should they just say, you know what? Because from what I've heard from Jason Schreier on the, or Friends Per Second podcast, is that things don't look good with Marathon right now. The developers that he knows are not really talking about how it's going to be such an awesome game coming out. I have two different thoughts on this. Either Sony expedite this sucker and get it out and just see if it sticks, and if people either are going to love it or they're not, or just ditch it and put all hands back on Destiny to make the next game. What do you think there? You think they should cancel Marathon? You think they should just get it out? Or what do you think, man? What do you think? Cause Concord is a similar type of game that Sony tested with a beta, and it didn't really get much interest. And I think that kind of worried Sony a little bit. And being that Marathon is kind of a hero shooter now from the last knowledge we have of it. What do you think, man?
Yeah, 1000% yes, they should cancel it. Here's the thing, it was already kind of a silly idea in my opinion, and not because I don't like PvP stuff as much, but when games take many years of development and you start chasing a trend, by the time the game comes out, you're going to be behind.
Yep.
So the hero shooter, extraction shooter, whatever the hell it is, people may not be interested. Now, there are shooter games that are coming out that people are still interested in, but that's one reason. And then, of course, we're assuming the other reason is if they cancel development on it, then they can bring more of those people into working on Destiny. Now, caveats could happen where they cancel the game and then they just lay those people off or move them somewhere else. But we would hope that they would bring them back into Destiny.
Yeah, and I know you're a little biased on that because you don't play PvP only games, and I'm definitely interested in trying it because it is a Bungie game. Concord is not a Bungie game. Yes, they use past developers that came from Bungie, but it's still not a Bungie game. And I think it might carry some weight with Marathon coming out. I think they should either just get it out quick and just let's go. We need to get it out and get some kind of finished product out there. And I know there's been a lot of games that have just pushed out too early. I can name a bunch that just bombed because they were so buggy and stuff. And maybe that's what they got to work on. Cause I know they've had to revamp the game because of the fact that there's no, that's the one thing I liked was all the customization that they were going to have in that game. And now that we're talking about hero shooters and not your own characters like in Destiny, I don't know, man. I have a little doubt now about that. So a part of me wants to say, put all hands on deck on Bungie. Let's be a Bungie studio and make one IP, the one that brings us money all the time in, and let's just get that Destiny 3 built, even if we got to wait 5 years for it. Let's get all hands on deck on that. The problem is they have to invest 5 years of salary for a game that hasn't been released yet. Kind of like Marathon, if you think about it. They've already invested the money. So I hear this term sunk cost fallacy a lot. Do you think maybe that's their mindset right now, is they've invested so much money and salary and time in this that they have to just finish it?
I'm glad you brought that up. Again, my personality type, I'm one that does not get caught into sunk cost fallacy, but I see people getting caught into that all the time in their lives. And, like when I've done stock market stuff, I haven't played it emotionally. There's sunk costs there too, where people are like, it keeps going down. Like, well, maybe it'll eventually come back up. Well, yeah, maybe over a 10-year period. But if you want to do shorter term trading, you have to have stop losses. So if it starts to go down, it automatically sells it. There's no emotion. Mm-hmm. And then it sells it and you're not losing more. And, same thing with some of these games. Yeah. Sunk cost fallacy. Maybe they do need to pull the plug. I'm trying not, yes, I don't love PvP as much, but I think for so many other reasons also, they probably need to stop development on Marathon. It can be a shame, sure, but like if they can do that and say Destiny is going to continue how it is and be 2 times better, or Destiny is going to continue how it is and now we have an expansion or a Destiny 3 planned for 4 years down the road, then that could be good news.
Another question I had too is if they decide to put all hands on deck and rebrand Destiny like they say they're going to do, if they decided to somehow convert Destiny 1 or make it a Destiny Universe Online, whatever the game type is, just to get more players interested in the game, introduced into the game, and have full tutorials and stuff, do you think that is sunk cost fallacy? I mean, well, not so much sunk cost fallacy, but are they putting too much money in an old franchise? Do you think they should invest more time in Destiny, or should they cut bait?
Unfortunately, I kind of saying that too. It's kind of a hard situation. I want there to be a better new player experience also, but honestly, even if it was, are you really getting that many new players as compared to players you currently have? I just don't know what they could do to get that many new players, even if the new player experience was good, unless you make a whole new game like a Destiny 3. That's the main way to get new players.
That was my worry. And when I heard rebranding, new player introduction, I thought, okay, Red War. They're going to have to bring Red War back into the fold because they have to tell the story of how Destiny 2 started. Because right now, people have no freaking clue. They show a few pictures of Gaul, and they're like, who the hell's Gaul? You know, they show a couple of cutscenes where Gaul kicks us off his ship and we lose our power, but they never felt that. They never felt that loss of power where you had nothing. It was a total wipe. You had nothing in the game. You had to start from scratch. Man, I played that mission so many times, Kingsley. It's such a great story, the great way to start the game. But
see, you're not thinking like a true new player, though. Like if someone who's never played the game before, they don't care about what Red War is. Now, yes, if it's in the game, they'll have a better experience, but that's not going to be the carrot and the stick for someone who's never played Destiny.
You thinking
before.
maybe that they should invest their money elsewhere, and besides the new player?
Because they're not going to. Let's say they add Red War in, they make a good new player experience. How are they going to market that? They're like going to say, we have a better new player experience now. Try Destiny. Like people are going to be like, well, show me. What do you mean you have a better new player experience? Like, well, we've added things like Red War. Like, huh? I don't even know what that means. You know, so it's like, unless it's a new game, how are people going to be like, okay, you made a new player experience better, but it's still Destiny 2. Why am I excited?
I get it, man. That's something that crossed my mind. I'm like, why would they be focusing on new player involvement? I think this is a 10-year-old game. I mean, if you include Destiny 1, it's a 7-year-old game if you include Destiny 2. I don't know. I really don't know. God, I wish they had a crystal ball and they could, if someone can give them some definitive numbers, you'll get 30,000 more players if you do a new player experience. If they knew and they had hard evidence that could happen, that maybe they've done focus groups or whatever, and they realized that players that tried to play it, maybe they brought in a focus group and said, why didn't you continue to play this game? Well, because I didn't know who anybody was, or I love the games and how I shot stuff and stuff. And you see these new player videos all the time on YouTube, and you're like, oh man, they just have no clue. They really don't know what the hell's going on here.
Listen, you don't just need to keep new players. You're talking more about why new players stopped playing. Well, they actually need to get more new players.
Yeah.
And how are you going to get more new players? You can't just say the new player experience is better. You got to have some.
So you got to have a promotional plan. That means more money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
There is one example of a game that's now 8 years old. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, but there's this little company with 4 people that develop it called Hello Games.
I thought you were going to talk about this tonight. Yep.
Because this is the game that I just purchased for $70, $60, $59. And this is a new exploratory game that finally has my attention, because when I saw all the memes of, you remember the meme? Welcome to Jurassic Park. And then it goes to a kid playing a recorder off tune, and you see all the janky, glitchy parts of No Man's Sky. And you're like, people just laughed at their game when it first came out. So here they are 8 years later. They are now in an office. I was looking at their their About Me page, and I got to read this because it's just so funny. He says, we're a video game development studio and publisher based in Guildford and Cambridge in the UK. We are proudly independent. We are the creators of the multi-award winning Joe Danger games, the huge and evolving No Man's Sky, and the intimate puzzle adventure, The Last Campfire. Don't know any of those games. And when we were not doing that, we're probably working on something new. And it says team. It says the people of Hello Games are a varied bunch, but there's a few things they have in common. Generally, they're humble, they have potential, and the grit to do their best work here. Our team is everything. So if you think you fit, we're always hiring. But they said, we believe that small, talented teams can achieve great things. As a team of 4 in a tiny room above a tile shop, we created the multi-million selling Joe Danger as a dozen developers in a leaking shed. We borrowed our neighbor's internet and created one of the biggest new IPs in video games, No Man's Sky. The success of No Man's Sky has given us a nice office and a whole bunch more freedom to expand creatively. These days, we try to join the stability and quality of AAA development with the freedom and creativity of an independent studio. We're excited to bring new games that wouldn't exist otherwise into the world. Now, have you played this game?
No, and I'm so excited you're talking about this. Do you even understand, like, there's been a lot of discussions about this in some of my friend groups.
Yes.
And I'm predicting tonight that we're going to see a lot of our Destiny friends be playing this game. I'm buying it here soon. Yep. A lot of my friends have picked it up. Again, Muffin and Scoot and Ed and all these people that have played it some in the past. Yep. We are all excited to start it again. Bell's been playing it. Scoot's been playing it. You don't even understand how much Sweaty.
Yep.
This is a huge discussion right now, and it can't just be a coincidence if you're hearing about this too. I wonder if the Destiny community in general will be getting excited in this game.
You know what got me to finally buy this game? Because this little studio in August of 2016, their first month, they had 212,321 concurrent players. The very next month, Kingsley, it dropped to 9,200. And at their lowest point was 1,097 people played it in February of 2017. So you're thinking this game is dead on arrival, man. I'm looking, it's all 5 figures, except maybe in August. I think that might be an update they did in the game. They had like a 491% increase in player count. And then of course, it looks like they did more updates in 2018. It jumped up to 96,000, 83,000. And then it started going back down into 4 figures again. And then it bumps up back into 5 figures in August and September 2019. I'm looking at the Steam chart here of it. The full history of this game. It is now steadily in 5 figures, except for it dipped to below 10,000 in August of 2021. But now look at this. 5 figures. 17, 13, 12, 10, 14, 11, 31,000, 28, 27,000, 40,000, 23,000, 20, 34,000, 54,000 as of last month. 54,000. Yeah, as of last month. And, this is an example of a team that never gave up on this game. And I finally am like, you know what? I watched a bunch of videos on YouTube and saw all this new world that they created. And what do you think? I know what you're going to say. Why do you think I want to play this game?
Oh, I know some reasons. A lot of the things you can do is I haven't played it yet, but I know a lot about the game. I've been interested. I always wanted to get it, but I think I was just playing Destiny and stuff. But I do know there's a lot of different things you can do, but I know a lot of things you can do is just chill, collect resources, do bounties.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
That's what I love doing. Yeah. The one thing I do to chill when I'm playing Destiny is I go to Cosmodrome. I grab my weapon bounties because they're so easy to complete. It's free currency and XP. And I go around and I glimmer farm. I use my own video. I mean, that is my glimmer farming machine. The material nodes and the chests pop up so frequently that by the time you run around one part of the beginning part of the map, by the time you're coming back around to the other part, everything's popped back up again. So I saw this, and I saw this little scanner device where you're blowing stuff up and collecting stuff. And then I saw all the stuff you can craft. But here's the thing. You can build a base.
Yep.
And create it where it makes your own resources all the time. You're collecting money all the time while sitting doing nothing. And I was like,
that's like Sims style there. That's always fun. Yeah.
And I played a little Sims when I was younger, but when I saw that, I was like, you know what? And they do have a full tutorial. You show you how to create a base. They send you to like a beginner planet, and it's just all so laid out for you. It's so easy to do. So I'm coming back to Destiny. I swear I am here. So what if Destiny did the same thing? You know, they had a great game. Yep. They had a great story. It ended. But what if they slowly started building back? I still think that Destiny should emulate at least a little bit of this type of game where you can do more chill things. And then you have your playlist and stuff you can go to if you want to go play Crucible or you want to go play a raid or whatever. And these are things I don't think No Man's Sky has. Because that's the one thing when I talk to Elmer Fudd, he goes, man, but I love these other games, but there's nothing in the world like going and playing a raid with 6 people, 6 of your friends. There's nothing in the world. Yeah. There's no game out there right now that does that. Even I think Warcraft does, but it's like 30 people or 100 people or something. It's not so stylized to just a group of 6 people in a fire team. And that's the one thing. So,
dude, if Destiny could do that, I think it'd be great. The idea, what I would love is some of the aspects of No Man's Sky is there's so many unlimited procedurally generated content. And for someone like me, that scratches my itch of having variety of things to do. I really liked the Halloween event, and they didn't do it that good in my opinion, but my favorite Halloween event was the Infinite Forest, which was pseudo procedurally generated. It wasn't really.
Right.
So if Bungie can do more things like that, where they have procedurally generated, have the collection stuff for people that like that, and that's going to be one of my probably, I don't know, being new, I'll like collecting stuff, but eventually the collecting in No Man's Sky will bore me. But the procedurally generated part that's always changing, the exploration part, that's what'll be interesting to me.
Yeah. See,
and finding fun things.
This is how we're very different players, because my favorite Halloween, what do they call the Halloween event again?
What's it called?
Jeez.
The Haunted Forest, but what was the event called?
The Halloween event is called, jeez, man, what the heck?
Can't even remember.
Old fart's losing his mind. Anyway, you guys know what we're talking about, but my favorite one was the Haunted Lost Sectors, because I could go in and just keep getting, just farming. Yeah. Just go in and just, while I'm watching YouTube videos, I can go into the Haunted Lost Sector and just keep farming for weapons and collect the little things and, kill the boss and get out of there and do it all over again and get loot. That was my thing. It's getting
called Festival of the Lost, by the way.
Thank you. Festival of the Lost. God, I'm losing my mind tonight, man. But here's the thing. What No Man's Sky has done over the years, and you can see by those player counts I was mentioning, is they said something that they do to their games that perked up my ears when Sony said, someone representing the future in that tweet said they're not going to do expansions because they're losing players year after year, but they're going to do updates to the game that are free. And I gotta give Hello Games so much credit here. They don't do any microtransactions. They have an in-game currency like Bright Dust we have, but you can do missions all the time, unlimited, and just keep farming this material to buy things in game that you want for, I don't know, maybe you want a really cool star base or something. You can save up this material and actually use it to buy stuff in game by just playing the game, the game, not this bullshit where I have to, they've got the Pathfinder system now where you can't even farm Bright Dust anymore because you don't have repeatable bounties. And that's the one reason I've been playing the Solstice Kingsley is I just keep chugging those repeatable 10 Bright Dust bounties because they're so easy to do. You're doing them while you're playing the event and, whatever the event you go to. I want to say EAZ, but it's not called that anymore. But, Burning Pit or whatever. Jesus Christ. I just,
yeah.
The bonfire bash. There we go.
You can tell how momentous this is to us. We forget the name.
Bonfire Bash. Yeah. And there's some dialogue in there that's kind of funny between Kydal and some other members, but, I think Osiris talks in there. But what if I'm bringing us all to a head here because I want to get your opinion here because I'm leading up to this point. If Bungie, instead of creating expansions, this Frontiers, what if it was something like what I talked about a couple episodes ago, where we crash on a planet like something like Elden Ring and it's all wide open and you discover pieces and pieces of it like a discovery type game and they're always updating it. They're always adding stuff to it. They're adding stuff you can buy in game. No microtransactions. You just pay for the game. What if they did something like that, like No Man's Sky does? Because I look at No Man's Sky and I watch videos of people building stuff and them collecting ironite and all this other stuff. I'm like, ooh, that just tickles my itch, man. It cures my itch because that's the kind of stuff I love doing to just chill and play the game. And no Bungie store, no microtransaction crap. They were talking about this cape that someone got and they got the cape, which looks a lot like a Destiny Hunter cape. They got this cape from completing a mission in the game. It probably was a go do this mission. You got that done mission and you get this cape now that you can wear on your character or whatever, your explorer, whatever you want to call it. This is what I loved about Starfield because you would pick certain traits of your player that you liked, like a skill tree. And you can, as you played more of the game, you could expand that skill tree out and actually become more adept at different tasks in the game. And No Man's Sky, it's just all right there, man. It's just whatever you want to do, go explore. And I'm just wondering, because here we go. I'm going to come back to the topic. Frontiers. After I've said all that, what I just said, do you think it's feasible that this is what Frontiers could be? Or do you think it's just going to be another set of episodes?
Well, okay. Here's where we'll talk about. See, I think it's two different questions. Of course, I would love that if that's the question. But on the realistic point of view, if it can happen, I still think it's less than a 50% chance because the thing is that to add all those things in that you like, that I like, that to make it like No Man's Sky. Remember, you got to have kind of these unlimited procedurally generated environments also, right?
Okay.
You may not care about that, but that's the part that's important to a lot of people in No Man's Sky, right?
But they've already done it with the Infinite Forest. They already have the technology in the game.
They don't. That's where I'm going to get into.
Okay.
The Infinite Forest wasn't truly procedurally generated. What they did was they made 15 or so different ways it could go, and then it randomly combines those 15 ways each time. Truly procedurally generated, what they would have to do is they would have to change the guts of the game so much, let's say the engine, whatever we want to call it.
Right.
That's why I don't think it's going to be as realistic, unfortunately.
I didn't bring up engine.
I'm not saying they
you
can't.
did. You brought up engine tonight, not me.
Yeah, but I'm just using that as an example, right?
I know.
For right now, everything Bungie makes is handcrafted. Yes, they bring in redone content, but that's not something new. And then they handcraft it to make it look a little bit different. If they want something truly procedurally generated, I think they would have to change the guts of the game so much, and I just don't think that's going to happen.
Okay.
I'm not trying to poo-poo your idea.
No, but my idea is not based on procedurally generated. It's not based on AI. Mm-hmm. My idea is based on more Elden Ring. The world's all laid out. It's all been programmed. It's all laid out. There's bosses everywhere. You have to wander into those areas to face them. And when you face them, you get rewards. I'm just wondering if, since they say they're updating the game instead of big expansions, because here's the problem with expansions. We consume it, we play the story, and it's just like a one-player game. Once we play through the story, we're done. There's nothing left to do. And that's really taxing, especially, I know it's a huge studio that Bungie has, even with 850 people, but it's so taxing to put so much time in this one expansion that everybody blows through. Like, is anybody talking about Final Shape anymore? No, because we all played it. We already played Excision. We already played the 12-man activity. It was fantastic. But what have you done for me lately? That's kind of the attitude of players. What do you got lately for us? What else you got? You know? And they're saying, we got Crucible. We got the new raid over here. We got, you can go play Strikes. Oh God, my stomach just gets up to thinking about that. Or you can, sorry, Crow. You can even go play Gambit. So they're saying here, these other things you can do once you played through the expansion and the story. But what if they did a shift, Kingsley, where instead of it's an expansion with a story, what if it's just turns into an exploratory game where you still are getting looters and shooters? You're still shooting stuff for loot. But what if they created a different pattern with because everyone thinks we're going to go to a new universe, right? A new system, a new solar system or whatever. This would be the time to do it if they decided to switch gears. But I'm just throwing that out there. I
don't see how that's any different though in the big picture. If you think about it, you have this open explored world that's still an expansion. It's not unlimited. So unless it's procedurally generated, you're going to come up to a limit of bosses that they made, come up to a limit of resources that they've made. How's that any different?
You're right.
It's just,
you're right.
Instead of being story missions, you go in there linear. Yes, it's an open world, but they can only make it so big with however much time they have to make it, unless they can make it procedurally generated.
Yes, I agree. As far as I know, this is your mindset. This is how we differ. Mm-hmm. This is your mindset. You want to be able to explore new things, and that's what you love to do. Mm-hmm. And you want to explore a new story. I get that. I know that's your personality type, but here's the thing about a true open world. Everyone has a totally different experience. I can go farm stuff for ages and build up my weapons and my abilities or my whatever they decide to do, and then go face that one boss. But you would probably want to face all the bosses and get it done, and then you'd well, there's nothing else to do now. But the thing with a full open world, like something like Elden Ring, is the fact that everybody's play experience is totally different because everybody has choice to do anything they want. It's not, okay, you completed this mission. Now you need to go over here and talk to this person. And then you need to go over here and destroy this boss. And then you need to go back over and talk to this person again. You see what I'm saying? It's all on rails. What if they switched more to an open world, a true open world environment? Everybody's game, even though there's limited content, it would take a lot more time for players to get through it than they do just playing a linear storyline. See what I'm saying?
It may take more time if they can make it big. But if the thing that's keeping you back, let's say you've hit all the bosses, it's like a little bit bigger than the linear stories or a lot bigger. And if you like collecting the resources, you can already do that on patrol. So what's different with that open world versus our current open world of collecting resources?
I'm just
trying to understand.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from here. I see what you're saying. The world would have to be big. It would have to be big. It would have to be something the size of Elden Ring where you actually would have to open up the world. And as you explore more, only the more the world will be visible to you. And then after that, you can come up with adventures. They used to have adventures all the time in Destiny 1. You had little optional side missions.
All those.
I get it.
Yeah.
But they have to program stories and cutscenes and all that too. What if I'm just trying to figure out where the hell are they going to go with?
It's
with
better
frontiers?
In the long run if they do procedurally generated. Trust me.
Okay.
For all games, like that's
AI is getting there.
Development.
I could see it.
It's the only way development can go forward, because we have limited resources. So if they can, it's like AI, but not really. And if they can find ways and they can also procedurally generate like new weapons and new resources for you. And you would love that too. Okay, so they have this one collectible resource but next week it changes a shape and a color and it adds some new stats to you. You're like, whoa, this resource is different this week. And then you have fun collecting that. You know?
I could see that, but I mean, you're talking about systems now, and that definitely gets into the weeds because you have to have these systems pre-programmed in for it to make sense to us as a player to be able to know we need to collect these red berries, or let's just say iron ferrite materials or whatever to go add to our gun to craft it and make it maybe, I don't know, you can go anywhere with this, man. I mean, wherever they decide to go, they can. But that's the one thing I kind of missed from Destiny 1 was all the world grinding, needing materials to do this or to upgrade your guns. You needed the iron stuff or, the flower on Venus or whatever it was. I can't remember. It's been so long, but to upgrade your weapons, you needed these materials and stuff.
Well, they could add that without having open world.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. You started talking about you would procedurally generate materials. I think that would I think you could procedurally generate aliens that you would encounter. I think AI has definitely come a long way. I don't know how far, how it's going to really help development now, but we're not far off. I would imagine we're not far away from that. I'm just trying to think about what Bungie and Sony, more importantly, Sony is thinking going forward here, and have they already been thinking about it with the Frontiers?
Yeah, I do want to talk about it a little bit more because I'm really trying to understand. So, you like resources and to build up and craft things.
Well, okay.
And they can add that being open world or not. They could even add that to the cause we're doing tomorrow if they wanted. You know, I'm not saying procedurally generated. Let's just say traditional way. They can add resources and stuff. And then the other question I have is, have you played a large open world game before? You can keep collecting things, but there is a limit where you will explore all the areas. So, and that's okay because you don't care about that.
Heroes of Might and Magic. I mean, I played a lot of those games back in the day, and
they're large, but you will reach all the spots.
You will eventually.
So then, So for you want to collect more resources,
not
but
so
then
much, but that's just part of it. But my point is compare an open world, a true open world where you have to explore all the areas to unlock all the bosses or whatever missions or whatever pops up versus an expansion with a built-in story and on rails. You have to complete the steps to get whatever. It's all laid out in front of you. Which do you think would take longer for players to get through? If it was something like on the size of Elden Ring, a planet. Say a planet was that big.
Forget, of course, the discussion. If they were going to make a large open world, they don't really have much time to do that. But let's just say they make one.
In lieu of a Destiny 3, yeah, of course. This is in lieu of a Destiny 3.
It really just depends on how big the open world is. If you're being fair, and if you take all these little, let's say the open world's let's just say large size. If you took a bunch of linear story missions and took them all out together and combined them into a big circle, you might have the same amount of content as this large open world. Okay. So you really just, we can talk about what the preferences are. I understand liking an open world maybe better than linear stories, but you could have the same amount of content either way if you were really being fair about it, side by side, combining them all together. So it really just, either way, they need to make more content, right? Whether it's open world or story missions.
But the thing about
then to make more content, they don't have the people to. Yeah. So if they can redo the game and make it, sorry, I keep coming back to that.
No. But here's I want to answer that. I want to answer that because here's how I think they could make it easier on themselves. Instead of creating a whole new storyline with those expensive cutscenes that they have to make, what if they just updated something on the open world? They created a new boss area.
Yeah.
That would be much easier adding it into an existing world than a whole new expansion.
On that very specific point, thanks for clarifying that. That does make a lot of sense. Cutscenes, and if that's the way to go, I'm okay with them getting rid of cutscenes. I like open worlds too. I'm not saying I don't like that, even if they're not procedurally generated. I like open worlds things. So if they can make more open world stuff, I'm still a little skeptical of how much resources they have now that their studio is smaller. But if they can make more open world stuff, I'm all for it. Even if that means less cutscenes, less linear story missions, I'm fine with that. I would like that. I would say yes. I like that more than having. Yeah, I'm
not trying to beat your point down. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to see both sides of it here. And the other thing too is we have to assume that they would cancel Marathon and ditch that. And because they are trend chasing there, you mentioned it. They are trend chasing. And the problem with making a live service game is you have to think, you have to be a fortune teller. You have to know 5 years in advance what's going to be hot. And that's hard to do, man. So many studios have tried to do that and failed. And I'm just thinking, see, here's the thing. I got real excited when I started seeing all the slots of inventory and all the different materials and all the modules you can put together. That got my brain going, man. But here's the thing. As soon as they pulled out the scanner and started shooting aliens with it, they lost me. That's where Bungie can clean up. If you imagine having the gun feel in an environment like that, instead of this scanner gun in your hand, which that's one scanner. That's one weapon. Bungie makes hundreds of weapons. Get with that, That's where they lost me.
I don't know if they have other things, but I know what you mean on that one scanner.
Well, don't they have another game?
I don't know much about the game yet.
Don't they have another game coming out?
Yeah, I heard they do.
It looked good. And maybe they're already addressing that. Maybe there'll be more different kinds of weapons and stuff other than just a scanner that you hold in your hand. And I've heard that there's guns in the game. I haven't played it enough to know that yet, but the videos that I've been watching of it, as soon as you pull that scanner out and you're shooting sentry bots and stuff, I'm like, you kind of lost me there. But the other parts of the game, I love. It'll be definitely my chill game to play. So I've just been thinking about this week. And when we talked about what we wanted to talk about this week, because I think I contacted you at the beginning of the week. I said, what do we talk about, man? I said, they did this tweet about, the future of the franchise and stuff. And Zebrak and I kind of talked a lot about that a little bit last week. And I didn't know if that was maybe just an overused topic, but I'm glad I brought it to your attention tonight, because I think that we flushed out a good conversation there. And that just shows how different players see things. Yeah. Because we're definitely different players when it comes to Destiny. But,
dude, I'll play No Man's Sky with you if we ever want to group up sometime.
Okay. Don't laugh at my little puny little station, but yeah. And what's really cool about No Man's Sky is you see that world over there and you physically can fly to it. It's really cool. I mean, there's no, they do have warp screen, they do have warps and stuff, but generally if you want to go over to that area, you just keep walking or running or using whatever vehicle or whatever. But I have to shout out Hello Games, because they were just a tiny little studio, not 850 people. They were 4 people. Well, okay, it's bigger now, obviously. They have more people they're hiring now because the game's so popular. But they have basically 20,000 people playing it every week. That's where Destiny is right now. Destiny's around 30,000 players, give or take what time of day. So, or their daily player engagement. So, we're looking at about the same kind of interest in both games right now. And, I'm just trying to think ahead. How would, if you're not going to do expansions anymore, if you're going to do like small little, I don't know, maybe a supersized episode or something like they're talking, I'm worried that may fully kill the game. I don't know if that'll be enough to keep players involved. And what are we doing? We've killed the witness. There's got to be some antagonist or something we're trying to chase or defeat or something. That's part of the game, right?
Yeah. I do like when, as far as like the worlds of Destiny, of course, are amazing. And what's some of my favorite? Yeah. And I do like new battlegrounds and things like that. But believe it or not, of all the type of busy work type things, I really like when they have quest steps that say, go to this unique corner of the map that you haven't been to in forever and find this collectible.
Yeah.
Because it's new in a way.
Yeah.
Like there's parts of Nessus, like I haven't been to this part in years because it's way off in some corner of Nessus. And then they kind of get you to explore it again. And people are going to get annoyed by that, I'm sure, but I really like it.
I liked it too. When they said to go find the frog, I was like, new area. Cool. I like this. Yeah. And it doesn't tell you where, it just shows you a little circle or somewhere in this area.
Or even older areas that like you just didn't have a reason to go to because maybe it's like, a lot of times, I don't know what you do, but like most of the times where there's public events and resources, they're part of the main circuit of the maps, but we tend to forget there's little fingers that we have no reason to go into.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't go there unless it's part of a story mission or, again, one of these fetch quests that tell you go to this cave that you haven't been to forever. It's like, and it takes you way off the map, to some other area. Like, I forgot about this area.
Yeah.
And then you go and you explore it again and get stuff.
Yeah.
So, of course, I love your idea if they were to make a new open world thing, but that takes a lot of development.
I totally get that. But if they're talking about not doing a Destiny 3, they think it's too big a risk, then maybe this will be a little bit less risk. I don't know.
A little, but
they would still have their playlist. You could take that gun that you found in the world and still take it into the Crucible or Gambit or whatever. I don't know if Gambit will, well, no, we'll see. But
creating new worlds has got to take tons of time.
I'm sure. But Bungie has the talent, man. And they don't have 4 people or 100 people. They have 850 people, man. Think of the power of that.
To be fair, No Man's Sky was not good when they only had 4 people.
That's
it got
true.
Good more recently when they added more people to the studio.
But they stuck to it. 8 years later, look at what they got now, and look how successful that game is now.
Yeah.
They made me buy it, and you know me, man, I don't buy many games.
Yeah.
And I just saw all the updates they made in the game, and I said, man, I got to at least try this game. So I got to at least try it. So, well, I appreciate you.
I love it. You're the dreamer. I'm the realist.
I know. That's why I like having you on the show, man, because you, you kind of,
I love it. It helps me too.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, thanks for indulging me in that conversation. I know we've had it. I had it before, I think, in one of the roundtable episodes, but it just keeps sticking in my mind that this would be a perfect way for the game to keep going. And it could be a chill game, or it could be more crazy if you want to go to do a raid or whatever. So, anyway.
Well, I hope they do that no matter what, regardless if I think if it's feasible or not. So let's all hope with you along the way.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Yeah. We're on the front of the Titanic, right? Got our hands in the air. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks. I appreciate it, Kingsley. I appreciate the conversations, man. I really do.
Good discussions as always.
Absolutely. Well, that was a great conversation with Mr. Kingsleymac. That's why I love having him on, because we both look at the game totally differently when it comes to playing Destiny. We both have different goals altogether, and that was probably more apparent tonight than ever. Before we move on here, I wanted to share some feedback from one of our community members. This is one of our members from Germany, Mr. Dimwee, and he's following up on a question from last week that he left. So I'll just play it right now.
Hello, Dimwee. And I want to, put a little input on the last week I did, because I just spoke gibberish there. And what I wanted to say there was, the final shape was phenomenal. Probably the best DLC they ever brought out. The gameplay was good, the story was good, the raid was incredible, and the ending is something I will never forget. However, the transition between the final shape and the episodes was abysmal. Like, very bad. I did not like it at all. I don't like seasonal stuff to begin with, but that's another can of soup I'm not going to open. And now the layoffs happened. And Bungie is, more information is coming out on how Bungie will continue story and such. We will get basically 6 months of 6-month season, 2 content packs, and a 6-month season, which has less content and less story. And less raids, especially. Since I'm a guy that mainly only cares about raids, the fact that we only will get one, which is probably the quality as, raid layers. So, formula for success is not cool to me, at least. The usual yada yada, raid elitists are evil and such. It doesn't matter at this point, honestly. But this hurt the game more for me than anything ever did. A second round of layoffs, the fact that content will basically just put on life support so that Destiny survives long enough so that it can drop out marathon and shit is, not for me. Who knows? Maybe we will get something good, but I will not sit here and play Destiny for more thousands of hours to, put in that gamble. And, we'll see how it goes. What I actually wanted to ask in the last time question for the show was, with the ending of the final shape, did you guys ever think about, quitting Destiny? Or, basically not making it your main game? That was the question I wanted to ask. All right, you guys will go on. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Dimwee. Appreciate the feedback, buddy. That was kind of what we talked about tonight in Kingsley and I's conversations. But to answer your question, not to repeat myself, but I will be continuing to be playing Destiny. Especially, I mentioned all my goals and things I needed to do for the next 6 to 8 months. After that, the future's uncertain. And all we can do is cross that bridge once we get to it, Dimwee. So, to answer your question, I do plan on playing Destiny still, all the episodes. There's 2 episodes left. And then whatever Frontiers ends up being, we'll have to see. And Bungie has mentioned that they're going to talk about that and bring us in the loop on what's exactly going to happen. And, I agree as far as the Echoes episode. I don't think it was a good transition at all. I mentioned in past episodes that once Final Shape comes out, that there needs to be a hook. There needs to be an episode that draws you right in and continue to play the game and be vested in the story. And I think Echoes fell short. I don't think it had that staying power. probably why the player base is as low as it is right now. So I'm enjoying the solstice. And then I think once the solstice is over, we have a couple weeks left. We will, a week left actually. We will go right into Act 3 of Echoes, and I'm curious to see what that's going to be. But I think Kingsley mentioned it as well, is we'll continue to play, of course. And if there's something to talk about in Destiny, we'll talk about it. But that's kind of the reason why I brought up some of my ideas as far as what frontiers might be. So, yeah, that question had perfect timing. So thank you, Dimwee, for sending that in. And just a reminder, if you have any questions you want to send to the show, or you have some feedback about something we talked about, even in the past episodes, hit me up. Send a voicemail to us. It's real simple. GuardianDowncast.com, and all you have to do is hit that send voicemail button. And it follows you around on the site. You can't miss it. It's on the right-hand side of your page or on your phone, it'll follow you around as well if you're using a phone to access it. It's GuardianDowncast.com, and just hit voicemail. Hit record, make sure you got a mic, even if it's your phone. Try to be in a quiet area and ask us your question or give us your feedback. I appreciate that. I really do. I love it when people call in and give me their opinions or something they want to ask me about the show or ask our guest. So thanks again, Dimwee. Oh, and before we go, we got to check in with our uncle across the pond. It's time for another Scumdeath's Corner. Uncle Scumdeath, what's going on in the UK today, brother?
Hello, and welcome to Scumdeath's Corner. Funny as fuck. The stepson was upstairs watching a movie, and he's come down, and he's like, right, I'm watching this film, and he's like, what is snuff? So what do you mean? He's like, what's a snuff movie? I said, well, that's a film when they actually kill people live. He's like, ah, shit. I'm like, what the fuck are you watching? And he's watching a film called Megan is Missing. I don't know if you've got that on your EMC stubs, Gator. I'm not sure.
I don't think so, man.
I've never heard of it. And he's had to come down. He's like, I can't take it anymore. There's apparently in the film or something, there's a little disclaimer saying that it's going to get fucking nasty in a minute. I have no idea. So he's come down and he's like, I'm like, well, if you think it's going to be nasty, don't fucking watch it. He's like, well, there's only 20 minutes left and I have to sort of see what happens. I'm like, well, just don't bother. He's like, no, I need to see it. I'm like, all right. So so he goes upstairs and then I come out of the living room and he's got his bedroom door open. He stood in the hallway, peeking his head around his fucking bedroom door, looking at the TV screen. So his eyes are in his bedroom, but the rest of his whole body is in the fucking hallway. So obviously, if it's something he don't like, he can slam the fucking door closed. Like, what the fuck? Why would you watch this shit? There's no way I would watch stuff like that. Obviously, it's a legitimate movie. It's not an actual snuff movie, but he's learned something anyway. So if he does see anything that is real snuff, then let me know, because I wouldn't mind watching a bit of that. But nah, not for me. Nah, I don't even like the Saw films, like chucking someone in a skip full of syringes and that. That's not for me, not at all. So yeah, that was fucking hilarious. If you don't like it, don't watch it. But it's like me with the book. If I don't like it, I still got to get to the end, but not a snuff movie. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll leave you all. I'm going to go and watch, what was it? Megan and Me? Megan Me? No, I'm definitely not watching it. Anyway, I'm going to go and watch, I'm going to catch up on my South Park. Anyway, love you all. Take it easy. Yo, elbow's getting better, by the way. Just a quick, still massive, but we'll deal with it anyway. Love you all. Goodbye.
Now, South Park, you're talking my language, brother. I'm glad everything's doing well there, Uncle Scumdeath. All right, some announcements here before we go. Wanted to shout out our member of the week. This is to one of our Discord community members every week. At least I try to every week. Mention or give a shout out to one of our community members, and this week it is Miner. He's been a member in our Discord for 3 years now and is very active in our Discord. And if you've ever heard his catch him sending voicemails to us from time to time, you've heard that, dude, it's Miner. I love that part. He's one of the few members from the great state of Oregon. Thanks for hanging out with us, bud, and thanks for your friendship as well. He has sent me some merch from his company representing my love of Blue Moon beer. So thanks, bud. I really appreciate those gifts, and I hope you're doing well, my dude. I wanted to mention that I have a new video series I'm working on for my YouTube channel. That's Todd the Gator, 2Ds and GATR, mainly because I'm disappointed we don't have more of our members embracing that PvP life. So I decided to make some videos to show them the way and maybe encourage them to try it out. So look for that very soon. I'm currently working on my 4th one as we speak. And as soon as they're done, I'm going to release them all at once. So keep an eye out for that, especially if you're playing mainly PvE and have really never wanted to try the Crucible or PvP. Thanks to all our patrons of the show, whether you're a fist bump, Gatorade, or tip jar patron, like our member Poor Mastermind. Thank you, sir. Hopefully you guys enjoying all the special Patreon episodes like the one I released just last week. A shout out to all of our Dungeon Champion patrons. That would be Technical, Raffi, Wicked Trinity, Sith Daddy Fresh, and Deadpool 1 Merc. And also a big thank you to our Raid Boss patrons. That would be Jealous, Frostbite, TL Tim, Amazing Taco King, and Nico, aka Jersey. Thank you all, gentlemen, for giving back to the show as well. I want to give a shout out to our moderation team on our Discord community. Without these awesome people who donate their time because they love the community and the people inside it. So without these guardians, we would not be able to fully operate our Discord community. So I want to give a shout out to RNG Gator, Admiral Nips, Warcry, Jealous, Chubby Wizard, Commando, Hades, Hammer Crasher 32, Brittany, Hayoka, and the Scarlet KM, Ronin Red Lion, Nico aka Jersey. And I'd also like to welcome and congratulate one of our newest members of our moderation team, and that would be Soccer. Welcome and thank you, sir. Appreciate all your help. And if you ever need any help in our Discord, just tag @moderationteam and someone will help you out as soon as they see you. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with Kingsleymac and I. I really hope that Bungie has a really good plan going into 2025 for the Destiny game. But as Bungie tweeted, they will be talking to us very soon, and as soon as they do, you know I will be here talking about it, so stay tuned on that one. Well, that's a wrap. Another episode in our collection. For our listeners out there, we have 264 other episodes with interviews from gamers all over our community. So if you're just new to listening to us, take a look at those as well. And if you like what you hear, tell a friend about us. Everything's at guardiandowncast.com. That's the place to send them. The special thanks to my fellow podcaster, Kingsleymac. You can find him in our Discord and other Discords among the Owl Sector Alliance of podcast communities out there. Check out his podcast, The Guardian Hub, where he co-hosts and talks Destiny 2 and gaming every week. It's the best hub on the net. You can find him on X as Kingsleymac. I'll post both the links in our show notes down below. You can contact me via Twitter or X at Todd the Gator. That's 2Ds and GATR. You can also find me on Steam, PS5, and my YouTube channel, Todd the Gator, where I create videos to help new players, post podcast clips, and even some commentary and opinion on occasion. And like I said, I'm trying to do some more streaming soon, so I'll be doing it from that very YouTube channel. I have a second podcast called the Destiny Help Desk that I've been reworking the format on. Think of it as Guardian Downcast as news and community interviews, but think of the Destiny Help Desk as having a singular focus on one aspect of Destiny 2, whether it's learning where to find the Destiny lore, build crafting, all kinds of ways to improve in the Crucible, or whatever. Check that out. That's Destiny Help Desk Podcast.com. Remember, as you're playing Final Shape, take breaks, get outside and touch grass. Fang King. Hey everyone, remember, we're Guardian Downcast. Your stories, your community, your destiny. And be good to your fellow Guardians in the Destinyverse.
Guardians are measured by their ability to come back from defeat. So stand. Fight!
Thank you all so very much for listening. And later, Guardian.
game that we can all rally behind as a second game. Like,
Yeah.
because that's the problem too. When people hop to other games, people are like, well, I'm not
get
interested in that
isolated.
game,
Yeah.
or this or that. Everyone gets isolated, but I haven't heard anything yet. Even the people talking about Warframe or First Descendant or all these games, but just kind of following trends and stuff. And this may fizzle out too, but I am really, there's something about this No Man's Sky that I think people might be hopping to.
I remember 30 and Still Gaming. I had him on years and years ago, and he loved this game when it first came out with all the bugs and everything. And he's my age, he's about my age. I mean, he's a little bit younger. His brother is my age, but, yeah, he just said, man, this game has so much potential. And that was years and years and years ago. But, now look at it now, man. It's just, I got to give them kudos. I mean, they stuck with it. They kept improving it. They kept making the game better. And they even have a little intro story, that the CEO talks about how we don't want your extra money. All we ask is that you buy the base game and we'll just keep making it better. Man, what a concept, you know?
Yeah.
I'm a grinder, man.